This episode brought to you by the following patrons. And there's a new one, Paige. I have a fork at Taco Bell. Leaf Girl, Min, Madeline, Alyssa, Vixen, Holly, Natasha, Laura, Jeremy with the laser eyes, Allie, Logan, Libby, Aaron, Kristen, Amy, Tia, and Jonathan. So thank you guys so much. And all the patrons want you to know that you're loved, you're listened to, and you're a valuable member of this awesome Horror Virgin community. And if you want to hang out with us, please do so in the Facebook group where we hang out and talk about which movie we should have watched this week daily.
Okay, you see this fool?
Goddamn, I love it already.
People say I'm jealous, but my kink is watching.
Oh yeah, baby, I love it.
He's incredible.
Fuck, he's really good too. This guy gives great oral sex. That's a song I could fuck to. I am not gonna lie.
I would love to fuck to that song. I would love to.
I get why some of our parents were into Kenny G.
I mean, I don't hate Kenny G.
There's a reason Tim Capello looks that way, and it's because that dude fucks. Like, people fuck saxophone players.
Here's what's terrible. I was like, who's Tim Capello? I was like, oh no, wait, of course he's the shirtless saxophone guy. Like, how could I forget his name?
Name me 3 other saxophonists. You got that dude and you got Kenny G, right?
Kenny G.
And we all know who you're going home with at the end of the night. And it's not the G-Man.
The guy who played the Careless Whisper one. Thank you for tuning into Horror Virgin. I'm Paige.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd, which means I don't like scary movies. And sometimes you guys make me watch them. But this week, because it's Halloween and we're doing the next Halloween movie we haven't done, we did Halloween 5. Wait, what?
Saxophone covers.
No.
Oh, yeah, okay. Halloween 5.
Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Or should I say The Revenge of Uncle Boogeyman. Paige, was this the first time you saw this movie?
It was.
Same.
I feel like it might have been the first time the editor saw it too.
Oh, Paige, isn't it great though? Like, we are essentially watching Dr. Loomis abuse a child the entire movie. Paige, you look confused.
I am confused.
How are you confused?
Because Dr. Loomis only sees that one child at the end.
Wait, what?
There's only 2 children in this movie. One of them's a baby, and Dr. Loomis doesn't meet him till the very, very end.
What movie did you watch?
Halloween 5.
The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Revenge of Michael Myers.
Yeah. What about Jamie?
Jamie's not a child in this movie.
Hang on.
Jamie's an adult. She dies in the beginning of the film. Did you watch Halloween 4?
No.
Where Jamie is a child?
No. Yeah, Jamie is Daniela Harris, who is the little girl from like...
There is no little girl in this movie.
Okay, what movie did you watch?
Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers. The little girl's in the last movie that we watched last time.
Is she not a little girl?
That's from movie 4. That's on the cover of Halloween 5.
I mean, that is the cover of Halloween 5.
That's Halloween 4. I thought
That's Halloween 5. This is the one I just watched.
that's not the one I just watched. So what is happening? Did I watch 6?
We may have to record tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, I know.
But
I'm just
this
trying
is
to figure out what the
hilarious.
fuck happened. What the fuck happened? No, sorry. I am so sorry because clearly I watched something different
Right?
on
Okay.
Amazon, but like, what did I just watch?
Holy shit. What just happened?
What?
Okay.
I literally typed in Halloween 5 and watched what came up.
Okay. I did virtually the same thing, but I watched it on Shudder.
I did. Okay, I watched it on Amazon.
I mean, what else could you have watched?
Just hold on. Oh my God, what is happening? Do I have a watch history? Help me out.
Oh, yeah, you can go to your watch history. Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Genius. Okay, yes, perfect.
No, I watched the wrong movie
Okay.
because mine came up as Curse of Michael Myers, not Revenge of Michael Myers. So I watched the wrong one.
Yeah, so that's the,
Is that 6?
I think so.
Yes, I watched the one after. Fuck, I'm so sorry.
Paige, I don't care. I also can do this tomorrow night. So, like, no loss. This is fucking funny. Let's talk about it on the episode, but, like, let's...
I was going to say, do you want to talk about it right now and then save this recording and then I'll record some Factor ads and send it all to you?
That'd be great. Let's do it.
Okay, well, now I feel better because I was like, who the fuck are these people for the whole movie? movie. And then I was like, when is Jamie an adult? Wasn't she abducted as a child?
So wait, we should put a button in this. So hang on. So like,
Yes.
we did just like break, and Paige did fully watch Halloween
I fully
6.
watched the wrong movie. This is my
So
bad.
we're gonna revisit this tomorrow night, but we're gonna keep the intro because like it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're now gonna cut to.
No. We'll now cut to Paige having watched the right movie. And then, here's what I will say. This is the first time I've done this in like 3 years.
Paige, there is still an episode out there that I fully watched the wrong movie for and just faked it. And I've seen a lot of theories as to which one that is. None of them are correct yet. So
None of them are correct. That's my
if you
favorite
know
thing.
which one I did not watch the movie for, put it on Reddit. Let's figure it out.
I mean, I'm actually glad that we discovered this as soon as we did.
Same, Paige. Oh my God. I would have been the whole episode like why is
what?
Paige not loving these Dr. Loomis is abusing this child jokes?
Because that's what triggered. I was like, wait a second. In mine, he doesn't even see children. Like, did I miss something?
Paige, after you watch the 5th one, you'll be like, good Lord, why did they allow him anywhere
Good
close
Lord,
to children
why
ever
did they
again?
do this? Well, you're in for it on number 6.
Oh, I'm sure. We'll get there next year.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
let's
yeah,
cut
yeah.
to us tomorrow night and finish this episode.
Thank you for your patience. Okay, so we're back. It's 24 hours almost exactly later.
Almost exactly to the minute later. So, Paige, in the past 24 hours, have you completed your homework assignment?
I have, but I do, and you validated me on this.
Literally looked it up myself.
Yes.
Because I was like, there's no way she typed in Halloween 5 and the Curse of Mike Myers was the first one that came up. And it was when I did it too.
Yes. So because, and this is how I found out because it took me a while. For some reason, Halloween 5 is not on Amazon. 3, 4, 6, all on Amazon.
Yep.
5, not. So if you type in Halloween 5 on Amazon, it gives you 6, but it doesn't have a number next to it.
Right.
So it just says Halloween Curse of Michael Myers under search for Halloween 5. It's your first hit. So that's what happened to me. Now, I do also briefly want to credit the fantastic TikTok content creator who did that Sachs cover that we played earlier. He's at Jeffrey Sachs. Please go experience him on TikTok and Instagram if you really want like a Careless Whisper version of Chapel Roan, which like who doesn't?
Yes, please.
Yes. I had forgotten that I made you listen to that before starting an episode with the wrong movie. You're welcome.
If you think I didn't listen to more of it today, you're insane. So
All of them.
Yeah.
They're so good. Here's my problem now. Because I had a hellish day at where I like worked for part of the day and then helped a friend move and then came back and worked. And then I'm recording this episode. So I watched 5, literally like we stopped recording and then I went and watched the right movie. But that means I have 6 and 5 swirling around in my brain soup. And I don't know what's going to happen today. But when I tell you that knowing about 6 makes 5 so much crazier.
What?
I mean it.
how is that possible?
I swear to you. And here's what I want to ask you, Todd, because
Ask me.
I know you'll forget everything that has happened by the time we get back to this next Halloween.
It's practically my superpower, Paige. Yes.
Exactly. So my question to you, and I guess to the listeners, I guess maybe just skip if you don't want spoilers, but it's also been out for like 30 years. So you had your chance to watch it.
Yeah.
Do you mind me spoiling some parts of 6 to let you know how fucking bonkers 5 is?
Absolutely not. No, Paige, I think that would be great because I'm sure most of the listeners, if not all, have the context. And you are right. It has been out for 30 years. Like I've had my chance
30 years.
to catch Halloween 6. Like it's on me at this point. Yes, please spoil away.
Now, here's the other thing. After watching 6, I spent most of 6 being like, that's a crazy time jump. Like, I don't know why is that the girl from the, okay, but like what happened in between? Who are these people? Like very confused. And so I was like searching through fun facts. Like I had gotten through fun facts, not realizing it was the wrong movie.
Paige, you got through the first 3 minutes of the recording without realizing it was the
Without
wrong
realizing
movie.
it was the wrong
So
movie.
yeah.
So in fun facts, there were multiple questions that like came up that people are like answering in the fun facts. And I was like, yeah, what is that? What? And I was very confused. And then when I watched 5, it actually makes like more sense and less sense at the same time. And I'm curious, Todd.
Yes.
In watching 5.
Okay.
What made the least sense to you? Was there anything in it that you were like, what the fuck is this shit?
Paige, that is such an unfair question.
I mean, the whole movie, right?
I mean, yeah, like the whole movie is insane. In a movie
Okay.
where Michael seems to have escaped the last movie's murder via lazy river.
Right, a lazy underground river.
Just sure, yeah. Yeah, sure it was underground. And then we see it come out of ground and he's just like, woohoo!
Woo!
I'm pretty sure he has a PBR in his hand as he's floating down that river. But this movie, like, is insane from the beginning to end.
From Jump Street.
Yes.
From Jump Street.
It is 1,000% a vehicle so Donald Pleasance could yell at a child. Like, that is this movie's existence to a T.
Would it surprise you to find out that this was the first movie that director ever made? Probably not, right?
I would believe that, yes.
Now, here's what I will tell you about 6. Now, first of all, I'd like to get out in front of this and say, you're right.
Thank you, Paige.
I'm not mentally competent to be president because the 6th movie, once you watch it, you're going to be like, how the hell did she watch this and not realize she'd missed one? The movie opens with Jamie as an adult.
Okay, so the girl from 4 and 5.
The girl from 4 and 5.
So, like, I'm sure it's not Danielle Harris, but
No,
whoever
but
is
it's-
playing that character now. Yeah.
It's Jamie, yeah. Pregnant.
Okay.
Having been kidnapped by Michael and an evil cult that has helped keep Michael alive this entire time.
Paige, that's a huge jump from where 4 left off. Like, that's a crazy jump, right?
That is a crazy jump. And in reading the blurb for what I now know is 6, they're like, she got kidnapped at the end. I was like, I don't remember that, but maybe it's in the beginning of this movie. And then it was not. Now, here's the other thing. The very beginning of the movie, because of all the weird cult stuff that you're like, what is this? And she's pregnant and there's like an attachment between her and Michael. You start to freak out and wonder, is it Michael's baby? Because you also remember that he's her uncle and you're like, oh no. Oh, this is terrible. Don't worry. The movie, which first of all is edited so badly that you're like, they have to be missing. Like, this is incomplete. Like, that's how bad it is. So bad. The movie clarifies later via Paul Rudd.
What?
That.
Okay, first off, if Paul Rudd's in the movie, you buried the lead on 6, first off.
Paul Rudd's in the movie.
What?
He is not a villain. He's a good guy. The movie doesn't seem to know that till Act 3. They then confirm that this cult, the Cult of Thorn, is keeping Michael alive so that he can murder on every Samhain, aka Halloween,
right,
where the stars align into a particular constellation, and that has lined up with every Halloween murder so far, and this also ties into 3.
Yes, I love it. Yes, it does.
Okay. It would be cool if they understood that and actually did it. That is not what happens.
Get Tom Atkins in the mix, and I'm here for it.
They don't connect them at all.
Unfortunately.
They don't. But it is a cult. We find out that this cult has been essentially doing a cloning moonchild ritual, and that the baby that Jamie was pregnant with is a clone of Michael.
Oh, so they sort of Rosemary's baby her in a way?
Kinda, yeah. Because they believe that he is the root of all evil and that evil has to exist for good to exist. And so the sacrifice is demanded because of Samhain, and like he's got to kill his family because one family sacrifices for It is not well explained. It does not make sense. They also have 2 super interesting premises in the movie. One, the idea of like, if you clone a serial killer, nature versus nurture, does it grow up to be a serial killer, right? And they don't do anything with that. It is immediately thrown away. They also have a whole extra family that they're like, oh, this is Laurie Strode's extended family, so he's going to go kill these people. Makes no sense there.
I mean, at some point, she's going to run out of like immediate family members. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. And that plot point suggests that the CIA has been controlling and utilizing Michael as like a deep state thing.
What?
To keep people in line, and then they never follow that through.
Oh my God.
But then on top of it, It also includes something that is in movie 5, which is the man in black. The big, tall man in black.
Oh, you mean Red Dead Redemption?
Yes.
That's also in 5? Yeah.
Yes, but in 5, there's no explanation for who that is.
No, it's just Arthur Morgan shooting up the fucking sheriff's office like it's
Exactly.
1880s. Yeah.
Okay, this is where this broke my brain. I've been up for too long. Okay, so that is in 5.
Right.
5 is directed by a completely different person that directed 6. Scripts are written by completely different people. No correlation between the two movies. There is no information shared between them to keep the plot going. 6 basically starts kind of fresh, other than the fact that Jamie is there and she ain't there for long.
Okay.
So that means, and this is what I kept finding in fun facts, is people were confused about who the man in black was from 5, so we felt like we had to answer it in 6. The guy who made 5 had no answer for who the man in black was.
Wait, what? He just did that?
This is what I'm saying.
What?
This is what I'm saying. Yes, this is what I found out in my fun fact. So by the time they got to 6, the guy directing 6 had a 3-picture deal with Miramax. And in order to make the next 2 movies that he wanted to make that were not this at all, he had to direct this movie. That was like part of his contract. He hated the franchise. He didn't want to direct it. And so he went to, and he was mad that the previous one had been really badly received. So
okay.
He researched to try and find out what was people's problem with the last one. And he also had like his own cult thing that he was going to do fucking regardless. And so he was kind of shoehorning that in. So he finds out that no one knew who the man in black was from the last one. And he was like, oh, well, and he just picked a guy that's in one scene from the first Halloween, the other psychiatrist.
What?
And he is the man in black. And in 6, he has essentially the voice from Dune that can command people who can hear the voice to murder their families. And we find out that not only can Michael hear it, and potentially this guy has been controlling him the whole entire time.
What? Okay.
But also that there's this new child that's not related, that, or like distantly related to Laurie Strode, but not close, that child can also hear it. But on top of all of this cult revolves around this symbol that Michael has as a tattoo in movie 5. There's no explanation for it in movie 5. They had to tie it to it for movie 6.
So all of that shit that is in this movie. Like a lot of that is in this movie. We see the thing on the wrist.
We see the tattoo.
We see Arthur Morgan.
Right.
Like we see all of that in this movie.
Right.
There was no plan for that for 6?
There was no plan for that. And
insane.
6 had to like reverse engineer it. This is why my brain is broken, Todd. What happened?
That is like walking up to a screenwriter and then like doing the screenwriter version of that a scene from Apollo 13 where they're like, we need the hole for this to fit a canister shaped like this using nothing but this. Start.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we have to write a script about Mike Myers, but you also have to work in Arthur Morgan and a ritualistic symbol. Like, what? Okay.
Here's the thing. So that's the crazy challenge that 6 has, right?
Yes, that's nuts.
That's crazy for 6. What's crazier to me is that the guy doing 5 was like, and then there's this man in black and he's got a tattoo. What does that mean? And has no answers.
I mean, I guess it's just called drugs, Paige. Like,
I hope so.
Yeah, this movie asks so many questions that it never intends to answer. Like, who is that Arthur Morgan, like, Red Dead Redemption character that shoots up the cops? Like, what is the symbol on that dude's wrist? Is it okay to watch a doctor pretend to be a medical doctor? Like, Dr. Loomis, like, is in surgery in this movie. Like, don't wake her up yet or whatever.
Yeah, he's performing surgery, like, or he's in the surgical room with the surgical team advising on the surgery.
I think they get around it because he's not. Yes. But like, what? You are not that kind of doctor. Like, get the fuck out of the OR, doctor.
She's gonna die. Yeah.
Insane.
Well, and as I watched it, I was like, oh, I get what he meant by the child abuse. I was like,
yes.
Yeah, I can understand why my look of confusion was equally confusing.
I can't, all of that shit that you said about
God.
6, like, I can't wait to forget it.
I know.
I cannot wait to forget it, Paige.
Yes, I know you will. But
Yeah.
it's unhinged.
Okay, but like...
We got to start talking about this one.
Yeah, we got to refocus onto this movie. So what did you think about this movie when you finally watched it right after having watched 6.
I mean-
and then talking to me briefly last night.
I mean, here's what I'll say. After watching 2 of them,
Yeah.
Halloween movies have a chronic pacing problem.
I would imagine if you don't watch them chronologically, they do.
Chronologically, they do.
Nailed it.
I think part of it is because they are so married to Michael as their antagonist.
I do agree. Yes, Halloween 3 is the only truly brave Halloween film. We all think it, Paige.
Well-
we know. We agree.
Watching these both back to back made me really think about, I don't know what number it is, but the last made Halloween film, the one that made everyone angry because the killer wasn't Michael, but then Michael was still there.
The one where he was living like a Ninja Turtle in the sewer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The one where it brought up this concept of like, this is more the story of Haddonfield's fear and trauma, and any person could be the shape. There could always be a new shape, which I think is a very interesting concept and maybe just not quite executed correctly. But in part, it's because people don't like Halloween movies without Michael Myers.
Right.
And because of that, there's not a lot of story around Michael. There's not a lot of interesting stuff. And so they have to like build in characters that we won't really care about and don't have a lot of interesting things to do just so they can kill them off. And it's a problem in both this and the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Although the next one less so, because you're like, what the fuck is happening? There's clones?
Why is Paul Rudd here? Current looking Paul Rudd is in this movie.
Why is Paul Rudd here hunched over a radio being like, see, the deep state doesn't understand? Like, it's madness. But it takes so long. Like, I tracked it in 6, I tracked it here, of how long it takes for an actual plot point to happen.
Oh, yeah, it's all
in these movies.
The first act is like, okay, learn the character names.
Right.
And then watch and pick which one you'd like to see win.
Right.
Or survive, I guess in this case.
Sure.
And it's like you're at the fair and you're watching the horses run or whatever. And you're like,
Right,
come
right, right.
on, Tina. And sometimes Tina dies and sometimes she doesn't. That's like all of these movies are that. It's like,
Yeah.
learn the characters' names and then watch them die interestingly.
Right. Well, and both movies, this and the next one, it happened after 40 minutes. That's so long.
The first kill was 40 minutes in.
No, not the first kill, but the first like actual plot point that gives us any information. Because it's Michael. This is movie 5 and 6. We know he's going to kill people. And a lot of times he's killing people we don't know or care about. Now, this one, he kills Rachel pretty early.
Yes.
So we do have that.
Yeah. They hold that close to the vest, though. Like, they don't reveal that
Yeah.
that she actually died. Although she's been, quote, missing for so long, you assume she's dead. But
Yes. Yeah. And so in this movie, they clearly didn't have enough people to kill. They hadn't planned enough people to kill.
they had to kill Max the dog. Like, why?
Not only did they have to kill Max, they spend 20 plus minutes in that barn.
Yeah, they do. But there's a lot of scenes where it's like, I don't know, we see Mike Myers follow Rachel home, and then she immediately, oh, I guess someone followed me home creepily, so I should get naked and take a shower.
Yeah.
Like, she immediately like jumps to that, and then we get like 12 minutes of her like, are we going to see her nude or not in the shower, like extended sequence where she's running around and stuff.
Right.
Like, it's all for that, right? It feels very, at this point, formulaic, you know?
Well, and this introduces an interesting piece of like, clearly Jamie has a connection to Michael.
Oh, this movie makes that abundantly clear, yes.
She is having premonitions about him killing people, and they always either get there just in time or people get away, but they do that like 4 times.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, at what point are we going to get some sort of resolution to this? Because it's not really building tension. You're just like, again?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah, they're following the formula, baby. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's the challenging part. There are some cool kills, although there's almost everyone in this movie gets impaled. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, it was a lot of non-machete kills, which surprised me a little bit.
Well,
'Cause
machete is Jason. Michael is chef's knife.
Okay, butcher knife. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
butcher knife. Yeah.
I get that they're different. Fundamentally, they're movies that are about guys who kill people with various size of bladed weapons.
Yeah.
But yes,
yeah.
they're totally different. I get it. I'm sorry.
Well, I was like, people are going to email us.
No, I know. And they do, Paige. My message requests are full of, well, actually, they're different because Jason Voorhees has a V in his name. Like, it's all like weird stuff that like, yeah, okay, of course. If you
Well, Jason is a zombie at this point
Oh
in
my
the movies we have gotten to, but you could argue that Michael might be some sort of zombie or a clone. I was like, in the next one, they introduce cloning and do nothing with it. I was like, this is finally different at least. This movie is bad, but like, that's different.
the bad part?
Yeah. There's not a lot different, and there's not a lot good in this movie as far as like, we're not covering any new ground. The pieces of the story that are different and interesting aren't really explored a lot. And then our third act, we take 40 minutes to kill 3 people.
Yeah.
Whereas like in most Halloween movies, like that 2019 or 2020 where he kills all those firemen and it's like 20 people. And it's not until the last minutes of the movie that we get basically a Terminator level police kill.
Yeah.
And then they don't even actually tell us the story point that we need to move to the next one, which is that he then kidnaps Jamie from that police station.
Right. And that's not him that kills those police. That's Arthur Morgan or
Right. It's the Man in Black.
Yeah, it's the Red Dead Redemption. And the only reason I'm saying that is because like you hear an explosion and you see a bunch of smoke and he's wearing like, he looks like he's a Wild West 6-shooting like Billy the Kid guy. Like that's what it looks like.
Todd, I'm gonna blow your mind.
Blow it.
He's in 4 other places in the movie.
I saw, okay, no, I know, because you see his boots. The boots are the tell. And the fact that, like, when you walk, you hear him, which is a plot point.
Right.
Because the first time we see him, Dr. Loomis is looming around a house trying to find Michael.
Yeah.
And he's close enough to have heard the stirrups that the guy is. Anyway, it's insane.
And Michael is notoriously silent, so we know it's not Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know it's Arthur Morgan.
Dr. Wynn. It's Dr. Wynn.
Okay, Dr. Wynn. We know it's Dr. Wynn, I guess.
Just the Man in Black is what he is in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was also mostly, I believe, played by some of the same actors. I think one of the stuntmen that played Michael, which, also, we have to address this. The mask is wrong.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Very. In fun facts, the original mask could not fit over his head and then it gets lost and it's like a whole thing. But it's like the wrong face because it's not Shatner anymore. And then it goes back to being Shatner in the next one. Also, it notoriously has eyebrows, unlike any of the other masks.
Wait, the one from this one or the one from 6?
The one from this one.
Never looked better in this one. I think it looked great. And honestly, he does look a little insane because it looks like someone took the old mask and like dipped it in bleach for, I don't know, 7 days.
Yep.
And then pulled it out and it's just like, it's like he's doing whiteface. It's crazy. Like it's just like so brightly white.
It also looks too tall and not wide enough for his head because it's a very narrow face as opposed to Michael's face always looks weird because it's a mask, but it's a natural shape. And this is like all over the place with weird painted on eyebrows.
All I'm hearing you say is that the dude who played Mike Myers in this movie had an oddly shaped face. That's all I'm hearing you say.
No, I think the mask is oddly shaped because it's not supposed to be his face. It's supposed to be Shatner's face. So I think props did not do a good job of replicating the look of the mask.
Oh, they did not. No. I mean, this mask looks very unlike any other mask I've seen.
Yeah.
Although I do think it sort of progressively gets worse over time. Although I do think in the later movies, like the ones we've already done that came out more recently, I think it looks great. So like they did sort of remedy this.
Yeah, they went back to the original.
Yeah. But these feel, even compared to the earlier movies, this feels a little bit like made-for-TV Mike Myers. You know, it's not the same production level as even the first one, you know?
Right.
These feel more cash grabby. And honestly, like I don't feel like they're trying to be as scary, although I do feel like there are some attempts at that with at least some of like the way the kills are shown to you. It's like, oh, gross.
They gave the dumb cops sound effects in this one.
Paige, I have to talk about this.
Let's go.
I feel like the cops have a sitcom on NBC I was unaware of.
Same.
And they struck a licensing deal to do a crossover episode, and we are just hearing the music from the sitcom that they're in.
Right.
Because anytime they're in, at least in that first scene, it's like they have sitcom music. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because they don't shoot somebody who turns out to have not been Michael Myers.
Right.
They like reasonably don't use force when they physically don't have to.
Right.
And it saves someone's life who was doing something very stupid, but was not Michael Myers, right? They then say, you're lucky we're terrible cops. right after I was like, fuck, those are great cops for not shooting in that situation. So like, I thought that was crazy. Like, it was just a different time, Paige. It's a different time.
Yeah.
Anyway, this intro is probably too long because we had a little bit of the last night's, and then we had a complete breakdown of 6 that I'm going to forget.
Yes.
And then all of what we just said. But Paige, maybe we should just get into the movie so we can go through it scene by scene.
Let's do it. The credits are really weird. It's just knives and pumpkins with mouth noises like whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Paige, how dare you make fun of that Fruit Slash game that was all the rage when smartphones just came out?
It is Fruit Ninja.
That's all I heard was that. It's that sound effect.
It's 2 whole minutes long, which I know doesn't sound like a lot of time, but think about the fact that most songs are 2 minutes long, and try to think about time yourself the next time you're having sex and see how long that is, and then evaluate if 2 minutes is a long time.
Yeah, do that. See if it's a long time. Or whatever.
Or whatever.
Sorry, Natalie.
Here's the point I'm making. 2 minutes is longer than people think, always.
Of cardio? Come on.
Yeah.
You get on top. Sorry.
I shan't.
Natalie is weeping while editing right now, guys. I just want you to know that. Anyway. Love you, babe.
We get a multi-minute repipe of the end of the last movie.
Yeah. And thank God. I honestly, I'm the person that is for. Someone who is,
Same.
honestly, I think pretty plugged into the horror community, even though famously I don't love the movies, or at least all the movies we watch, because they're largely scary and that still scares me. But I know what's going on in the horror community, right? I forget shit so easily, especially like plot points for like the 4th of a movie series we've watched that we haven't watched in 12 months. And I've watched 53 at least other movies since then and done episodes on them for this one podcast. So like I needed the recap. I really needed that. I understand how like if you're just like a fan of the Halloween franchise, you might not need it, but I needed it.
Oh yeah, I did too. Cause I was like, oh, that's right, that he ends up in the thing. And then I was like, mine shaft crawls through the tunnels. That's all new. That's this one. That's not the last one.
Yeah.
But he like crawls through and he's close to death and then sadly enters the realm of the Goonies because
he does.
Definitely looks like the Goonies. And then a man with a bird nurses him back to health.
How dare you not address that bird by their name, Paige, especially when that name was Tukey.
Snooky.
It was Tukey.
Oh, Tukey.
It was adorable.
Tukey.
And for a second, it made me think, holy shit, are we going to get a Mike Myers, The Shape, where The Shape also has a parrot on its shoulder? How awesome would it have been if The Shape finally got a voice and that voice was Tukey? But it's like 2 parrots on it. Yeah, singing back and forth. Yes, love it.
We cut to the children's clinic in Haddonfield where Jamie is having what looks like a sleep study. Now, here's a question I have for you, Todd, because it was not answered in this, nor thusly in the 6th. Is her stepmom dead?
I assumed so. I don't know for sure.
I thought so.
I think that there has to be some legal justification for Dr. Loomis to be able to hold her in this way. Because he is abusing this child. Like I don't mean like sexually. I mean like verbally abusing this child at least all movie.
This is medical abuse.
And at points he does grab her aggressively. Like
yes, and shakes her a lot.
Yes.
Even though she's a child with a brain that should not be shooken.
When her dead aunt is taken by her, he's like, will you finally tell me now? Like, is this not enough? Like, very much like, it's your fault your aunt is dead. To a child!
Okay, that's my question. Is that her aunt?
I don't know, Paige.
I mean, that's the role she kind of plays within the movie.
Yes.
But relation-wise, I don't know. But here's why I ask about the mom. Because literally in this very next scene, because she wakes up, she's screaming, she is not speaking easily.
She's positioned as mute.
Yeah, and she does end up regaining her speech later.
Yes.
But she's mostly writing out notes and things on like chalkboards and whiteboards and whatever. And the nurse comes in and says, should I call your mom? And at first I was like, oh, this nurse doesn't know that she definitely stabbed that mom, who was her stepmom, by the way.
Well, I think that's why she said, should I call your mom? Because the stepmom might be dead.
Or adopted mom.
Oh,
because her parents are dead.
That's right.
Like her biological parents are dead, right?
That's right.
So adopted mom. So then later, like in this scene, they take her, she's having a seizure. They're going to trach her because they're worried she can't breathe. And Dr. Loomis stops them.
Yeah, this is where not medical Dr. Loomis walks in and is like, don't perform that life-saving operation. Like,
yeah.
What? Doctor, get out of here.
And he's like, she'll stabilize. You'll see. And she does stabilize.
She does. He's right.
Yeah.
Of course.
We cut to some other point. We don't know how much further away this is. Time is a flat circle in this movie, where Rachel, who I want to say is her adoptive sister, like older sister.
They're all, I thought of both Rachel and Tina as like aunt characters.
Yes.
I don't know their exact relation. Like they are, quote, family, and they love her and care for her like an aunt would, more or less.
Right. Rachel was in the last movie.
Yeah, I believe so.
And I believe is the oldest daughter of the adopted parents.
Okay.
So here's why I have the question. Because Dr. Loomis says to her that, like, oh, they're going to find out. They're going to find out that you attacked your mother. He doesn't say killed.
Right.
He says attacked, which we know happened. And we did not see her die. We did see her get stabbed. We didn't see her die.
Right.
He says attacked. When Rachel comes in, Rachel explains, and I'm sure I'm going to get a million emails about the family tree, and fine, I'm not going to go back and revisit this, but I just have to explain why I was confused in this moment. So
Right.
Rachel comes in. Rachel says that her parents have moved out of Haddonfield and are off doing something, and she has the house for the weekend, but that's why she's there visiting Jamie, which I guess to me would suggest that the parents, the mom and dad, are still alive and have moved and left Jamie here
Okay.
after the attack.
Yes. Okay.
Which is how Loomis is abusing her this whole time. No one's watching out for her.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, honestly, I do feel like Dr. Loomis and Mike Myers may be working together in some elaborate ploy to abuse Jamie, because at some point there's a reason that Mike Myers is only taking out her family, and that that Dr. Loomis is requiring that she be in her care. Anyway, yes, Paige, I did find a Mike Myers family tree online, and here, this is the timeline we're in, right? And so Jamie is adopted sister of Rachel. I can confirm.
Okay.
Who is a Strode?
A Strode by marriage.
But yeah, isn't Jamie Laurie Strode's daughter?
Jamie is, but Rachel and her family are only related by marriage, and or adoption.
Right.
That's why Michael didn't kill them.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Because he doesn't care if it's not blood related.
Right. Now, this is also, you'll notice there's like birth and death dates for everybody that is confirmed dead. And you'll notice Darlene has neither. So she might still be alive.
Yeah.
But let me give you a quick number 6 breakdown. So Kara Strode and Tommy Doyle adopt, or I guess save Steven, and then she has Danny from a previous relationship, but I guess that implies that they end up together at some point. And then Tim is her brother who does not survive.
Unfortunate.
But John Strode and Deborah Strode are somehow distantly related, and we don't fully know why or how.
All right.
Anyway, thanks for bringing up this chart. That was very helpful.
Shout out to the Useful Charts subreddit for that. And Reddit user Lime Green Live. Thank you so much for your chart. I appreciate it.
If that's you and you listen, thank you.
Yeah. Big ups to you, friend.
So I guess that answers my question that the step or adopted mom is in Schrodinger's box. She could be both alive and dead and is never confirmed to be either.
So the Schrodinger's mom is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's it. So Jamie and Tina bring Max, a big old Doberman, to come visit her. And they bring her Halloween costume, which is now a little princess costume.
Yeah.
Now, as they're kind of getting her ready, Loomis walks in on all of it, and a brick flies through the window, and it says, "The evil child must die." And Loomis says they know he's her uncle, meaning Michael Myers.
Right.
And that she attacked her stepmother. Maybe killed, maybe didn't. But this is where Rachel said, I never should have let my parents talk me into moving away.
Yeah.
I should have been here for Jamie.
But that's a crazy escalation for a town, right? Like the town is going to take a rock, write that message on it, and throw it through the window of the hospital in which she's like living.
Yeah, first of all, how do they know?
Also, she's 9, guys.
She's 9. I also had a thing that was irking me between the two movies last night, and it's that Haddonfield has one thing that it's famous for, and it's that Michael Myers shows up around Halloween and fucking kills a bunch of people. And it has happened multiple times at this point, and everyone in Haddonfield should know what Michael looks like and to be aware of people acting like serial killers around Halloween. And multiple people in both movies encounter Michael and they're just like, hey, strong silent type, eh? Like that, and people dress up as Michael. And no one thinks it's weird. And I'm like, how are all of you so oblivious to the most famous thing that's happened in your town?
Paige, you have not accounted for the dumbass teen.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen 6, but in this movie, it's a dumbass teen that does it. And I was like, shit, I would have done that as a 19-year-old. Like, because I was a dumbass teen, you know? So, like, that shit happens, bro.
That shit does happen. There's not quite as many dumbass teens in the next movie. In the next movie, they're activist teens that are actually pretty chill and get disappointed by someone they look up to and then unfortunately have sex in a slasher movie and therefore they get killed.
There you go. It happens.
It happens.
Rookie move, guys.
Anyway, these scenes are basically exposition dumps where we find out that there's a party at a local farm. So we know that Michael's going to go kill a bunch of people there.
Right.
And that it's a teen sex party. And so they're definitely going to kill a bunch of people there. And that Jamie is going to be here and she's basically under the care of Dr. Loomis, who has lost his mind.
He is outside of himself, guys. Like, he is in every scene good copping and bad copping her. It's like,
yes.
It's like an insane way to treat a child who's been through what she's been through. And it suggests that he thinks that she knows where Michael is almost at all times.
Right.
And he's holding out on her. She just won't tell him.
Right. That she's like, doesn't want to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, no, I'm not going to help you get the guy who killed my family.
Fuck you, Dr. Loomis.
Eat a dick, Looms. Like, that's not her vibe at all. It clearly, like,
no.
Clearly, she doesn't have the connection all the time. It seems to only be when he is like actually murdering people.
About to murder somebody. When people she loves is in danger.
Yes.
That's when it shows up.
But she has like a 2-3 minute window tops, right?
Right.
Like, it's sort of like a red ball in Minority Report. Like, it's that quick, right? And I only say that because, like, at times when Mike Myers is probably walking from victim to victim and not doing anything, he is like, Dr. Loomis is yelling at this child like she knows where he is in that moment.
Constantly.
And it's crazy to me that he does not understand what we clearly understand watching the movie.
Right.
Because even at the end when Tina dies and he's like, are you gonna tell me now? Now that you killed your aunt or whatever? Like, and then, okay, I do see, and maybe this is confirmation bias, she does at that moment tell him. So maybe she was holding out on him. I don't know. Maybe, okay, now that I'm thinking through this.
No, okay.
Was she holding out on him? Hang on. No, I mean, because I think when she tells him Michael is not about to murder. Holy shit! Was she holding out on him the whole movie?
No, because Michael's on his way to the children's hospital to kill Billy.
Yeah, okay, maybe. But he's pretty far out from that. Okay, guys, Dr. Loomis might have been right about this. I don't know for sure, but like there's some evidence to suggest that maybe she was holding out on it.
I don't think so. I disagree. I think Michael's in the middle of a murder spree at that point, and at that point the connection is stronger.
Fair.
But here's
okay.
the bigger problem that I think is happening. And I think they illustrate this in the movie. Because at a certain point they're like, where is he? And she's trying to describe a landmark, and she's a fucking child. And like, I feel like, have you ever had the sensation of going someplace as an adult that you've been as a child and you can kind of navigate your way around based on landmarks, but it's a little fumbly of like where exactly things are?
Yeah, because you haven't been there in like a decade or two or whatever.
Because you haven't been there in a decade, and because when you were there, your initial perception of it is as a child.
Yeah, so everything was bigger. It took you more steps to get everywhere. Yeah.
Everything was bigger. You maybe remember something different because of the emotions of when you were there.
Sure.
Any number of things. And so when she's trying to be like, it's a 24-hour convenience store with a big cookie lady out front. Like, that's the best she can do because she's a fucking child. If you were like, hey, Paige, what's the McDonald's next to the Mission Street exit to get on the freeway near your childhood home in Fremont? I, as a child, would have been like, it's the one that looks like a church. And that's the only thing I could tell you about it.
Yeah.
And like now as an adult, I could tell you the cross streets. I know where it is. But as a kid, I'm like, the Mission McDonald's, the one that looks like a church. And now as an adult, I'm like, because it's on Mission. That's why it looks like one.
Yeah, but you don't think about that shit when you're a kid, Paige. And I think to your point, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So she can't articulate. Yeah.
That's why she says cookie lady. When if it was like, I don't know.
Her tits are cookies.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like if that was me at 14, I'd been like, yo, it's the cookie tits.
It's the store with the boobs.
Yeah.
The boobs that are also cookies.
Right. It makes me real thirsty for milk. Can we go, please? Can you take me now?
Please take me to there. I want to go to there.
I love accidental Tina Fey's.
That's actually, do you know the story behind I Want to Go to There?
No, but I know it's from 30 Rock initially. But I don't know that it's actually Tina Fey because there were a bunch of writers on that show. But
no, it is.
Okay.
It is Tina Fey. It was her daughter.
Oh, I love it.
It was something her young daughter used to say as a baby was I want to go to there. And she just thought it was very funny and put it into 30 Rock. But yeah, I want to go to there.
Love that.
Hi, I'm Kat.
And I'm Pat.
We're from Seek Treatment Podcast, and we're here to talk about Blue Land. Do you know what I'm so about right now, Pat?
What? Tell me. Do not tell me.
Well, ready for this? I just heard that we're eating and drinking roughly a credit card's worth of plastic a week. Yeah, that's right.
Oh my God.
I know. The products we're using are contaminating our water supply, generating hundreds of microplastics that we're eating. So here's the good news. You're never going to believe this. Blue Land is doing something about it. They're eliminating the need for single-use plastic in the products we reach for the most.
From cleaning sprays to hand soap, toilet bowl cleaner, and laundry tablets, all Blue Land products are made with clean ingredients that you can feel good about. Blue Land is trusted in over 1 million homes, including mine. That's correct.
They offer refillable cleaning products with a beautiful, cohesive design that looks great on your counter. And refills start at just $2.25. You can even set up a subscription or buy in bulk for additional savings. I used my Blue Land spray today. I cleaned my dirty yoga mat with my Blue Land all-purpose spray today. It smelled good. It got the job done. And the bottle looked beautiful while doing it.
Blue Land has a special offer for listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/save15.
You won't want to miss this. Blueland.com/save15 for 15% off. That's blueland.com/save15 to get 15% off.
So this is the first time we see it in action because Max is barking and Jamie is frantically coloring and she's like, Max is not okay. But that's all she can articulate.
Right.
Because here's the other thing too. She doesn't know what's going to happen. She just knows that Michael is near.
Right.
And he's there. And that is what she's articulating. And the question is where? Well, I mean, Max, so where Rachel is. So like they're always able to go to the place that she says.
Call.
She always gives them the information.
Yeah, like she is, and this is why I think Dr. Loomis should know how it works at this point.
Right.
Like it's not like she's withholding the information. When she has it, she gives it. And they do call her, and like she has to jump out of the shower and answer the phone, and like Dr. Loomis is like, hey, is everything okay? And all of that takes place, and like she's like, yeah, everything's fine. And he's like, I don't care what you have to do. Get out of the house.
Right.
Like, don't put on clothes. Whatever you do, don't put on clothes and run outside your door. He's saying it like almost he's in a phone booth down the corner and playing this whole thing.
Right.
He's not.
Just breathing heavily, waiting for her to run out of the house.
Right. But he's not at all. Like he is at his hospital, whatever. But it does have that vibe, the way he's saying it and what she's wearing. Anyway. But she runs next door, and like you do see that Mike Myers is in the house, and they sort of save her life in this moment.
Right.
I mean, jump to like 10 minutes later, and she's dead. But like, you know, this is evidence that Jamie is like communicating where he is on Dr. Loomis's side. Is all I'm saying.
Right. But they don't find her dead for a while.
Right.
So I understand that. But here's the other piece of it. She only does it when Michael's killing people. So how often has this happened? We only see, like, he kills the one guy. We don't know how long it is between him being nursed back to health towards him coming back to Haddonfield. There's no indication of time. It's long enough for, you know, Rachel's parents to, I guess, leave. But like, We don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, how many times has this happened? That they're like not believing her and being like, no, there's no dead thing. You trust this little girl. And I'm like, I think this has only happened a handful of times. And now it's happening in quick succession, which would indicate that he's ramping up.
Yeah, like a spree killer does.
As he does
Yeah.
in these movies, right? And nobody's taking it seriously. But it again goes to the thing of like, you all know what Michael looks like. You all know you can't find his body.
Right.
You all know these things. Like, why?
But yeah, that speaks to the whole, like, guys, you know the drill. This is
You live in Haddonfield.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what's going on.
It is something I really appreciate about the newer Halloween movies because they really do focus on Haddonfield as a character of
They really do. Yeah.
the trauma of what this town went through. And I think that's very important and very interesting. And so like for this one, I'm like, I can't explain it other than people are just like, that couldn't happen to me. Anyway, but Jamie's really worked up. Rachel's safe. Max is safe for the time being.
Yeah.
And they go to kind of put Jamie to bed. And we do meet her friend in the little hospital, Billy. Poor Billy.
Yeah.
Who is very, very sweet and I hope survives this film.
Who knows?
It's unclear at the end.
Yeah, it's a toss up. Was he in 6?
No.
Rest in peace, Billy, baby.
R.I.P. Billy.
Yeah. Sorry you couldn't make it.
So, no sooner has Rachel been like, good, I'm finally safe. I can get ready for this party in the best sweater I've ever fucking seen. It's amazing. Dude, the outfits in this movie, incredible. She's got this like sweater dress with little like flower like buds on it. I loved it. And then he got blood all over it when Michael just stepped out of the shadows because he's been there the whole time and just stabs her to death.
Yep. I don't know.
Yep.
It was such a long buildup for her to get away and then for her to just die immediately after that took place. It's so fast that she's saved and then dead again.
No sooner have the cops with the funny soundtrack stepped off the porch of her house. She is like dead on the ground. And no sooner, her body doesn't even have time to get cold before her friend Tina shows up in lace tights and these like cut off jean shorts with lace on the bottom and tons of pearls and rhinestones.
Yeah.
And this amazing jacket. Like those lace tights, fuck me up with that shit. I need lace tights yesterday. Like,
yeah, she's making it work.
Oh, I zoned out for too long and had to go back and watch more of this movie because I just kept picturing, I was like, what if I did what she did to those shorts to a full denim dress? Like, I just couldn't stop thinking about it.
You have to remember this movie came out in 1989.
I know.
Like, she is the most 80s, and I loved it.
She's killing it.
Yeah, she's great.
But she walked into the house literally in the places that Rachel just was. There's no blood. There's no indication of a struggle. There's no body. And it's depicted to be minutes later because Max is still out and barking.
Yeah.
So like it makes, and Michael's still in the house, by the way. So like where'd the body go? Like all these, there's no, who knows?
And we know he's still in the house because when Sammy gets there.
Yes.
And, of course, Tina's there. Like, I think it seems like they're about to have like a weekend at that house together with Rachel.
Right. Like an Airbnb for Halloween.
Right. But Rachel, they think, decided to go up to where her parents were, I guess.
I guess, again, that suggests that Darlena's alive.
Yeah, I guess it does, which is great. Good for her. Congrats on life, Darlena. But
Good for Darlene.
so they think that Rachel she just went to go hang with her parents for Halloween. We'll just still use her house, which I thought was a weird thing to assume, but it was the 80s.
Yeah.
And you couldn't just text them and be like, hey, is it cool if we hang? I know you left us, but whatever.
It seems like that was their plan, and Rachel
Yeah.
not being there is out of the plan. But they're not alarmed by it at all. They're just like, go with it.
But anyway, what I was saying is when Sammy and her leave,
Right.
and they're just going somewhere for the night or whatever, they look back at the house and they do see Michael was in the house when they were in there.
Yes.
So yeah, they do see that.
Or we see it.
Well, no, I mean, Tina looks back at the window and then we see Michael still slowly moving out of the frame because you see his shoulder sliding out.
Right. But she never confirms that she sees it. So she doesn't know he's there. Yeah.
That's fair, but I saw it.
Oh, yeah, we saw it.
If I saw it, I bet Tina saw it. I know you see his face before, and then it cuts to Tina, and then she turns around and looks at the window.
Right.
When she turns around and looks at the window, that's when you see just his shoulder.
Right.
So don't DM me, guys.
Right. Anyway, who should show up but Tina's boyfriend Mike. And fuck them for having another character named Michael in the movie, as if that's not confusing enough.
But Paige, they do that so in the one scene where the name is important,
Right.
she can still call her boyfriend Mike, and it does turn out to be the right name because it's actually Mike Myers in the car, not her boyfriend Mike.
Right.
And I thought it was like, I don't know. I thought it was funny. It made me laugh because it made me think, I wonder if a girl has ever dated two guys named John and then said the other John's name during sex and just like played it off, like
Sure.
was thinking about last John, but this John was the one that was, whatever. So that's what it made me think, because I was like, that's a weird like coincidence.
Yeah, I'm sure that's happened, especially because I feel like there's just not as much variation in American men's names as there are in American women's names.
Yeah, get yourself a Todd.
Get yourself a Todd. Get yourself a gender neutral name.
Like a Logan. My brother's name was Logan, but I met plenty of women named Logan.
I know both a male and female Logan.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't know any more living Logans that are male, but it's not his name that caused the accident, I don't think.
I could introduce you to the one I know if you want, if you need one.
Oh, wait, no. I mean, I have a nephew, Logan, who is also a male.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
But like, it's like he was named after whatever. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, but in this movie where your titular character is Michael, to do it for that one line is ridiculous.
Right. I agree. I thought it was crazy. They also made Michael, her boyfriend, look like even more Long Island the Fonz, which was funny to me.
Yes, that's the most accurate description I have heard of this man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they get into Michael's car, not Michael the
boyfriend, actual boyfriend
Michael the
Yes.
boyfriend.
It's terrible. I'm sorry they did this to us and to you.
I'm hurt too. But Tina gets in. She's like, I kind of want to see Jamie. And he's just like, ugh, no. They go to pick up beer.
It's almost like they're stealing it though, right? Because like their friend works at this like...
Well, they're underage.
I know, I guess, but like... So their friend who works at this like gas station more or less was like, hey, old man Smithers, who owns the joint, won't notice 3 cases being missing.
Is like, yeah, 3 cases fell off the truck.
Yeah, exactly, Paige.
Yeah. But while that's happening, Jamie wakes up and is wandering around the little children's hospital in like a weird laundry room basement. It seems like Michael is there, and then the janitor finds her. And so I'm like, is this a dream again? I don't know. But then this is where Loomis is like, and you know where he is. Why are you protecting him? And I'm like, she's like not. She's not.
Yeah, she's absolutely not protecting him, Loomis, you idiot.
Loomis he's like, the cemetery called me. They have a coffin for a 9-year-old and he stole it and he's looking for you. I was like, first of all, they don't do coffins by ages. It's definitely by length. But also, what's the tall man doing here? Like, that's not this movie.
It was weird that like, he brings this up to her. And did Mike Myers actually dig up a 9-year-old corpse? Like, why?
I think for the coffin, but it's never explained.
We do see the coffin later though, right?
We do see it later in the end of the movie. But there's something even crazier happening here because like the girls leave Carmichael, and that's Michael with a car, not, you get it.
Not the last name Carmichael.
Right. Carmichael.
This is not going to get it all confusing.
It's their fault.
But I do think we should just call him Carmichael the whole time.
Carmichael. So Carmichael, they're like, pick us up at 8. And he's like, oh, fine, whatever. I don't want to wear this mask. But yes, I'll be at the house at 8 to pick you guys up. Great. He then goes to pick up the cases of beer from the other guy who was going to dress like Michael later. Equally confusing. But as he's picking up the beer, somebody goes to scratch his car. He's in like a little garage thing out back. And it's Michael who just like immediately kills him with some sort of pointy thing he found in that area.
It's like a pitchfork kind of a thing.
It looks like a trowel, like a garden trowel.
Oh, I guess it does kind of look like that.
But it's bigger and sharper.
I don't know. Farm equipment. I don't live in Haddonfield. It looks like it could kill somebody if you stabbed them like that.
Yeah.
So I bought it. I don't need to know what the tool's called to know it could kill you.
Yeah, I was like, a 3-prong stabby thing.
Hey, Home Depot, where's your 3-prong stabby thing aisle?
No, nonsense. You can never find someone to help you at Home Depot. Hello? I'm in lumber. Anyway, if you work at Home Depot, no, you don't. I've never seen one of you. Sorry. Anyway, Michael now has the car. We cut to the child hospital where they're having a costume pageant. Billy is like her partner for the pageant, and he gives her his medical bracelet. And I was like, no, Billy, you need that. But it's also a very sweet gesture.
It is very sweet, but also don't do that.
Justice for Billy, man. I felt bad for Billy.
Yeah. I mean, at one point, he does sort of become like her power glove speak and say kind of thing. And that like really made me laugh.
Amy mad.
Yeah.
Amy save Haddonfield. Amy trick or treat. Ame go to farm.
I literally, like, when that was happening, I was like, Paige has got to be loving this.
He does kind of sound like Amy too, where he's just like, the farm. And you're like, good for you, Billy. Now, what kinds of animals exist on a farm? Chicken. Well, close. Anyway, they cut back to Rachel's house, and her friends Tina and Sammy are at the house getting dressed and seemingly have been hanging out there for hours. Michael's not there. No sign of the bodies. All is confusion. We will find out that those bodies are in the attic. How did they not smell it?
Right?
But I guess this is all taking place in one day, so who knows?
I guess. Yeah, it is.
Anyway, a car pulls up outside the house and honks to pick them up. And this is the part that broke my fucking brain, because it means that Michael remembered that they needed to be picked up at 8, somehow found a way to keep track of time, despite, I don't think he wears a watch, maybe the car clock, I don't know, and then arrived on time. And then signaled them to be like, I'm here and I'm in a different mask and not Michael. And I was like, this is way more planning than Michael normally does.
Yeah, I mean, he was, I guess, in a different mask disguise when I guess you could have just taken off your mask and that would have been a good enough disguise. Like, do they know what he looks like under the mask?
No one does. And in fact, I have fun facts about it because he does get unmasked in this movie, but we as the audience still don't see
That is true. Oh, wait, you know what I should say? They need to think that he is Carmichael, who he just killed.
Right.
So he can't not wear a mask, and I get that.
Right. But also driving in a mask is dangerous, so.
Yes, but this is the time when he is like incognito Carmichael, but actual Michael.
Yeah, he's incarnito.
Yes.
As in, it's a car and it's pretty neato. But she gets in and she's just like, oh, I like the strong silent type. And I was like, this man definitely smells like blood and bodies and dirt. Michael's not showering before this. Like, this is the Kyle Reese problem.
Is it a problem, Paige, or is it the solution? Is it the man here to make you the mother of the future, Paige?
If 6 is to be believed, then through the magic of cloning, possibly.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to watch 6. This sounds amazing. I do think that she just assumes that that is her boyfriend, even more Long Island the Fonz,
Right.
in a costume. And that costume contains, I don't know, 90 pounds of more muscle than he had 2 hours ago when she last saw him.
Yeah, and she's just like, take me to the farm. And he's like, hey, because it's a farm. They have hay. There's a lot of hay later in this movie. Anyway.
Yeah.
So they drive off and she's like, can you stop? I want to get like cigarettes over here. And he's like, not stopping. But then he stops and lets her go in to get cigarettes.
Yeah. I mean, why would he let her go in to get cigarettes? I guess he does like turn, I don't know. Like,
why did he pick her up, Todd?
I don't know. I do think that like it is crazy because like she is talking to him like that is her boyfriend. And he is just like driving,
Sure.
I guess, and not paying attention. I don't know. Like, why is he doing anything other than killing? I don't understand it.
Yeah. Yes. Same.
Like, where is he? Is he driving her to or does he think he's on a date with Tina? I guess is my question.
I don't
know what he's doing. Like, what are your intentions with Tina, sir?
What's his plan?
And if you're not going to kill her, I'm concerned.
Yeah, like.
Which is like weird, right? Like normally, like when you want to know your intentions with this lady, it's not like, cause you better be just gonna kill her, right?
Right?
I'm concerned he's driving her to a second location.
Yeah, he is. And I'm like, okay, so he's going to take her to this farm party or whatever and kill her there? Why didn't he kill her at the house? Like, why did he transport her? What's happening?
He really loves a witness, Paige. Like, he's like, can I get a witness?
mean-
Please?
Anyway, this is where Jamie, in the middle of the costume pageant at the children's hospital, is like, she's big titty cookie lady, cookie big titty lady, titty cookie titty cookies.
That sounds like Paige is making that up. That's word for word exactly what she says, 100%. I guarantee it.
But my favorite is she's just like, titty cookies, cookie titty cookies, chips. And then the like cop is like, it's the one on Mason Avenue. Like, he knows immediately. He's like, I know a big titty cookie bitch when she mentions it. Like,
okay, but he also says it in like a tone that like makes you feel like he just brushed off some Chips Ahoy crumbs on his chest. Like, he also is into the booby part of it, but he also like likes cookies too. He's like a fan of both.
yeah, I motorboat that gas station twice a week. It's Bill's gas station on Mason Avenue. Titty cookie titties. I know exactly what she means.
Oh, you mean famous Amos's? Yeah.
Oh no, that's the one with the butt cheeks.
It would be butt cheeks though.
Just for the rhyming. Anyway, they show up there and Tina's like, I was just trying to buy cigarettes from this big titty cookie lady. And they were just like, well, someone was trying to kill you. And she's like, what? And then the car is gone. And she was like, no, my boyfriend.
I love how she still thinks like her boyfriend left.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't think that that's a murderer trying to kill her, which is what the cops just told her.
100.
And then she's like, oh, my boyfriend tried to kill me again.
Again.
She's, I guess, just not listening to what the cops are saying.
Yeah.
Because they did just say, hey, the person you were riding with was going to kill you. And she's like, my boyfriend's such a trickster.
I mean, people are most likely to be murdered by a close friend or partner.
That is true, yes. Unfortunately.
But then the cops show up and they're just like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo." And she's like, yeah, okay, Laurel Hardy, let's go. Let's get in the car. And so they drive her to the party and they're like, we're supposed to follow you because you're supposed to be in danger. But first they take her to the hospital where Jamie is just like, Tina! And she's like, what's wrong?
It's literally her first words back from having, I guess, losing her speech.
Her first words outside of titty cookie titty cookie bitch.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, but we don't want to remember those as her first words back. Like, we want the emotional weight of the first words to be Tina and not titty cookie titties.
Tina cookies, cookie titties. Tina, and she's like, what's wrong? And she like can't tell her because she can't find the words because her mouths are full of titty cookies. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to leave you here and I'm going to go to this farm party. And she's like, no, why? And she's like, because I gots to get laid. Bye.
That's literally what, it's not literally what, but it's more or less that. Like, Jamie is like, please stay with me. Like, you were almost murdered just now. And she's like, nah, I got to go get laid.
Yep.
I'll see you later, nerd. Like, I'll be back tonight. I just got to go get plowed at a farm and then I'll be back.
I got to bang this shit out.
Yeah.
I'm dressed like some sort of milkmaid. I gotta what was her costume?
Was she I thought her costume was just what they wore in the 80s. Like, I didn't realize that she was in a costume. I thought they just went to a party.
No, because Sammy's dressed as the devil, and then she's in a costume that I think is a sexy vampire, but it's mostly just a bustier and a cool skirt.
Paige, having had you shout at me about True Blood for, 4 years of my life, I don't know if there is anything other than a sexy vampire. I think every vampire is sexy. I can tell by your head tilt and suggestive glance that, yes, I am correct.
Anyway, so she's like, I'll be back. I just got to get gushed. And so she says, stay the night, Tina, please. She's like, no. And Tina leaves and Loomis is like, please stay the night, Tina. And she's like, you're fucking creepy.
I did love that because, it is like Sam Loomis, like, almost like
Tina.
Yeah, like he's like right up on her.
Tina, no.
Like, please stay the night. It's I don't know. There's never a moment in this movie where Donald Pleasance is pleasant at all. He is very like in your face and aggressive the whole movie.
The whole time.
Paige, I also have to point this out. Oh, wait, I think we're almost going to get there. I'll table it because I have so much to say about Dr. Loomis here in a second.
Okay, cool. So he's like, cops, please follow her. And they go outside and she's like, you're supposed to follow me? And she's like, fine. All right, take me to the party. They take her to the party. She gets there and she is like, meets her friends, but Mike's still not there. She doesn't care. She's going to dance through this party.
Right.
Meanwhile, back at the children's hospital, we get Jamie who's like, I've got to find Tina. And Billy's like, I eavesdropped and I know that she's going to the party at Tower Farm. And she's like, let's go. And so they go, 2 kids on the run.
Yeah.
We cut to Tina at the party and they're like, where's Mike? And she's like, don't care. And the cops are outside. Now, Mike's car pulls up with the wrong Mike inside. It's not Car Mike. Car Mike is dead. This is Knife Mike. Knife Mike is there. And it's going to be a problem. So the cops are like, should we just leave her here? They're like, no, orders are orders. But those orders came from Sam Loomis, not another cop. So like, I don't know whatever.
Sam Loomis does order the cops around in this scene. Like he has some authority to do so.
Right.
I mean, it is positioned like anything for you, Doc. Like,
Yeah.
It does seem like they might be doing it just as a favor to them, but like, okay, we don't ever see Dr. Loomis helping them move or do anything that would establish a relationship where they might want to do him a favor. Whatever. It's fine. It gets the cops where we need the cops to be, so I'm okay with it.
Right. So they arrive and Sam and I think his name is Spitz is the other guy.
It is Spitz, yes.
Spitz.
And Spitz is the guy who was, it's Sammy's boyfriend, but Sammy's boyfriend we didn't mention also was the guy who was working at the gas station they stole, quote unquote,
With the beer.
From, right?
Yeah.
And he is a practical joker. I don't know anything else to say it. That's just the way it is. He's a
Yeah.
practical joker.
Honestly, because essentially Sammy finds a kitten and they're like, oh, hey, come out to the barn. And they do this whole like prank thing on the cops where they make it seem like Michael is after her, but it's just Spitz.
Yeah.
And miraculously, the cops don't shoot him. And he takes the mask off and he's just like, ah! And it's the craziest laugh and a facial expression I've ever seen. And I love
It's
it.
a crazier laugh than the laugh from Amadeus. And if you know, you know, you know. But this is that moment I was talking about before where the cops were like, you're lucky we're terrible cops because if we were good cops, we would have murdered you.
Right.
Which I was like, oh man, the 80s.
Oh.
That was a terrible time for sort of everybody who wasn't rich.
Oof bagoo.
Yeah.
But they did find a baby McCready, a little orange baby. And I was like, they
know.
better not hurt that fucking kitten.
Yeah, but they kill Max in this movie. I mean, like, listen, okay, don't kill the kittens, obviously.
At least we don't see it, thankfully.
That is true. Yeah, like
Yeah.
we don't even hear him getting like snatched or anything. Like,
Yeah, nothing.
so that was nice. But yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm an animal lover. I don't like when they kill animals.
Anyway, so they find a whole litter of kittens, and we spend conservatively 10 to 15 minutes of them just chasing kittens around this bar.
It's so much screen time.
Yes.
I'm 100% sure the summer of 1989, there was some douche like me in the back of the theater yelling, show us more titties, show us less kitties. Like, let's go. Like it's just so much. They spend so much time on it. And I love kitties.
I half agree.
Yeah.
I half agree because, yes, from a horror movie standpoint, more blood, more titties, less love, less kitties.
Right.
But also, I love kitties.
Same.
And so I was just like, kitties. But then the whole time I was like, Michael's in the barn. Michael's going to hurt a kitty. And I don't like that. I can't have him hurting the kitties. They're tiny kitties and I love them so much. And so it was just upsetting me.
They are really cute.
They're very cute. One is a little tuxedo baby.
Yeah.
But regardless, she gives up on the cats. Tina's like, I'm over this whole kitten thing. And so I'm going outside the barn. Meanwhile, Sammy and Spitz go to have hay bale barn sex. And all I have to say is spiders.
Oh, I'm not going to have sex in hay. And this is coming from someone who has had sex in a historical shack.
Yep.
So, like, I don't have high standards, is all I'm saying. Like, but I won't smash in hay. And that's largely because it would have to be painful if you're on bottom. You know, like,
Yeah.
because the hay is, like, going to be poking you at all times. You can't finish with that going on.
No, of course not. Itchy.
Yeah, let's just stand.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? I would rather stand than lay in hay.
There's literally a house a stone's throw away with a couch. There's cars everywhere.
We can't have sex in front of the kittens. Paige, don't look at me like that.
I'm not saying you should.
McCready, what have you seen? I'm so sorry, McCready.
Mostly my butt, my balls, and my future. It's fine.
Did you just refer to Jake as your balls? Because I'm here for that.
No, it's
Like, yes.
It-
If Natalie just wants to start referring to me, her now husband. Paige, did we mention that this is the first recording back since I got married and you returned from your 5-year anniversary trip? Hey,
I know.
it's the first time I've ever called Natalie my wife on a podcast. Hello, that's
There you
cool.
go.
Monumental event.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And also, no, that's not why I said my balls. We on Cult Podcast have a refrain from one time that Armando got very, very ill and had to have someone help him get to the doctor. And the only person strong enough to do it was my husband, Jake.
Ah.
And Armando, in various states of undress because he was sick, Jake helped him up. And Armando was like, did you see my butt and my balls? And Jake was like, yeah, but I'm not going to tell anybody. It's okay.
And here we are telling everybody.
We tell people about it all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the sex is taking even longer in the barn. And it's kind of a snooze fest until Michael pitchforks spits on top of her. We get an ample amount of blood and titties for my liking.
Yes.
However,
blood all over the titties, actually. Yeah.
some of the blood gets on the kitties. And I didn't want to mix my blood, titties, and kitties.
No. We are strictly a more blood, more titties podcast, not a more blood on kitties podcast.
Right,
Now, I
right.
do understand they sound very similar, but the t-shirt designs are very different.
Very, very different. But meanwhile, outside, people are like, Tina, we're all going to the spring to skinny dip and swim. And she's just like, hold on, let me get my sex friends. And she goes into the barn. And I was like, God damn it, we're back in the barn? Like, we just got out of the barn.
I know. We literally just got out of the barn, and he just killed 2 people there, and we're now immediately going back into it.
Right.
So clearly she's going to walk in on him having just killed. Oh, no. They're all, like, the whole scene's cleaned up. And like the bodies aren't there. Like, it's crazy how fast he like disposes of them.
Yeah, the only indication is that she finds the little orange kitty with blood on him.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Less blood on kitties, more blood on titties.
More blood on titties.
The famous quote by Paige Wesley.
Thank you. Thank you. Put it on my tombstone. Pizza. I want you to make me a tombstone pizza, spell it out, and then I will devour my words.
But it's a pepperoni pizza, and that's spelled out in hot sauce on top. Or honey. I take honey too.
Ooh. The bodies fall. The bodies hit the floor.
They
and
do.
She's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So Tina runs out and she's like, no, everyone's gone except for the cops. But then, spoiler, the cops are very dead.
Yeah.
And who is there except Michael, Knife Michael,
right,
in Carmichael's car?
It's not confusing at all, guys.
And also Jamie and Billy. And Knife Michael in Carmichael's car starts chasing them with the car. Now, Jamie somehow ends up with a black eye. I'm guessing she got nicked. I'm not sure. Billy gets clipped by the car.
He does bounce off the car. At least it seems like he got hit by the front bumper as he was trying to jump out of the way.
Right.
That's how I read that scene, at least.
And Tina's like, stay there, Billy. I'll be right back. I was like, Billy's going to bleed out in the dark.
I was like, I don't know that Billy has options. Like, I think he might have to stay there.
Yeah.
But Michael Myers is driving a lot in this movie, and he is trying to run her down. Like,
yes.
Listen, I am not saying that Fast and the Furious ripped off the Halloween franchise.
Okay.
But Dominic Toretto does also try and solve his problems behind the wheel of a car, and both Dominic Toretto and Mike Myers are very concerned about all family business. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Like, I don't know that Vin Diesel didn't steal this from this franchise. That's all I'm saying.
I cannot find any fault with your hypothesis. But have you considered clones?
Paige, it may not be as good as my mariachi paradox from the Beautiful Wedding episode
damn it.
on Romancing the Pod, but that's my theory for this episode, is that Vin Diesel saw this movie and was like, I have an idea for a movie series.
Can we talk about the mariachi paradox and how much it has infected my brain?
Yes.
Because I went back and listened to Eurovision, which had a mention of a mariachi band in it, and I was like, is that not this episode? And then had to remember that, no, it's the one that comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
As the day we're recording this beautiful wedding.
It comes out in 4 hours.
4 hours
Yeah.
till the episode hits into your ear hole. And that's where you introduce the mariachi paradox. And every time I see a mariachi band now, it just infected my ear brains.
It truly is a theory I have been working on since college. It's something I noticed in college, and it has been true throughout my life. I don't even want to talk about it. I want people to go.
Thank you for presenting your research.
You're welcome. I do think people should just maybe go listen to that episode, because like it happens in such like an organically silly way, because I thought I had talked about it before.
No, you had never, and I lost my mind.
I have a whole theory about mariachi bands, and you'll have to go listen to it to hear it. I'm so sorry.
It's as good as the presidential breakfast cookbook. Like, it's that level of madness, and I'm very proud of you.
The Eggsbraham Lincoln.
The Eggsbraham Lincoln, yes. Anyway, so they dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge until Michael hits some sort of pole or tree.
It was a tree, and I did think it was really funny that like it sort of seems for like maybe 30 seconds that this whole movie was just like an after-school special convincing you to not drive in the woods at night. Because it is just Mike Myers chasing down somebody and then wrecking the car and the car sort of exploding. And you're like,
Yep.
oh shit, is that the end of the movie? Like, that's a terrible way to kill off Mike Myers. And the movie thinks that too, and he is not dead, obviously.
Right.
But for a second, I was like, wait, what happened? He just like drove into a tree and is dead?
Yeah.
But he gets up. He's fine, guys. He's fine.
He's fine.
It's Mike Myers. You know the drill.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But Loomis is also there, and Tina gets in between Mike and Jamie. Tina gets stabbed. Loomis shows up immediately. They get Tina on a stretcher, but she is somehow immediately dead. And I'm like,
Right?
They probably could have saved her at this point, unless he got her directly in the heart. But, whatever. More blood on titties. But at this point, this is when Loomis is like, see, this is your fault because you wouldn't give up the goods.
Right?
And you're like, what the fuck is he talking
It's
about?
crazy, right?
What is happening?
Yeah.
What is happening? And he's like, he can get rid of the rage, but she's the key, and it's the rage that makes him kill. And I was like, what is he talking about?
For like the rest of this movie, I am unsure if Dr. Loomis and Mike Myers are working together on some level. Although there is, I think in the scene at the accident, because doesn't Loomis come like save the kids from the woods, I suppose?
Yeah.
Because he like pops out of the woods and saves them. And you sort of think it might be Mike Myers, but it's actually Loomis
Right.
who's there to save him. And he just like shouts into the woods, like, come to your house, Michael, and we can fight.
Michael, come to the place that is yours, and you will find her. And you're like, what the fuck is happening?
He is just a 65-year-old man who was challenged a serial killer to the death.
Yes.
Like to a fight to the death at his place. He yells it into the woods like he's someone yelling at trees at
Like
night.
Brad Pitt in Troy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just like, Hector! Yes, it's that. But it's also like,
It's my favorite. I love it.
it also sounds distinctively like Rainn Wilson on The Office. Just, Michael?
Yes,
like,
it
it's
is.
that same
Oh my God.
intonation.
No, it is. Donald Pleasance has a very strange like delivery, although I'll say this, I love the Dr. Loomis character. I think he is like, I don't want it to be played differently. Like, I think he's sort of crushing
It's
it.
played completely differently in the next movie, which is great, but different in a wild way.
I love it. I can't wait. I do feel like he has escalated every movie. Like he has become more Loomis than like I expected.
I gotta burn a story point from the next movie for you.
Burn it. I'll forget.
Because, okay, the end of this movie ends the way it does. And then we pick up the next movie where Jamie has been incognito. Like she has been kidnapped and has been missing. And in the time that she's been missing, Michael has not struck again or killed anyone.
Right.
And so in that time,
Okay.
Dr. Loomis, with Jamie still fully missing, just retires and writes a book.
Good for you, Dr. Loomis. Make that money on the back end. Good for you.
And then they're like, do you want to come out of retirement? And he's like, not really. And then they're like, well, you gotta. And he's like, why? And they're like, Michael Myers. And he's like, still not super interested, but like, okay, fine. Like, and he begrudgingly does it mainly because he meets Paul Rudd and the baby.
I get it. I do it for Paul Rudd too.
I mean, who wouldn't do
I know.
it for Paul Rudd?
He's great.
Anyway, he's like, Michael, it will destroy you too. This rage which drives you, it won't go away. I'll be there. She'll be there too. Fight it in the place that it's strongest. Let's get rid of the rage. Go home. And I was like, is this the longest version of like, have baby, take it baby, meet at later bar sometime night or daytime? Like, it's that level of crazy.
It's a little bit less Charlie Day, but very much that energy, yes.
A little more Charlie Manson.
Yes. Yeah.
A little
Honestly,
less Charlie Day.
Yeah. Crazy eyes, all of it. Yeah.
All of it. So they go to Michael's house and she's full on bait. And there's like a bunch of cops outside. And the one sheriff is like, okay, practice our signals. And she's like, knock, knock, knock. And he's like, brave little girl. But then they wait around this damn house for him to show up for fucking ever because she has a seizure. And she's just like, Billy, which I think means Billy lived and he ended up in the like child hospital.
He does.
But essentially, Michael has gone to the child hospital, killed, I assume, a bunch of children and adults.
I mean, I do think this is where George Lucas got the idea for
The younglings.
Yes, for the younglings. I'm not saying George Lucas ripped off the Halloween series, but Vin Diesel already had. I don't know if you heard my theory from earlier, but
It's not as good as your mariachi one, but it's pretty good. Anyway, so they're like, no, send the cops to the hospital. But Michael's already on the way to the house because he's like, ha ha ha, if I kill these children, they'll send the cops to the hospital and then I'll go to the house and the cops won't be there. Titty cookie, titty baby.
when all of that is revealed and like you have the cop talking to Jamie and they're like, you're a brave girl because we're using U.S. bait. We, the U.S. government, for which I am the like physical arm of, are using U.S. baits to capture this serial killer is what he's saying to a 9-year-old, whatever.
Yeah.
But in that scene, like all the other cops rush off, right? And it's just that one cop,
Right.
Jamie and Donald Pleasance, a.k.a. Dr. Sam Loomis.
Dr. Loomis.
Dr. Loomis is losing his mind. Like when everyone leaves, he says out loud to a Mike Myers who is nowhere close, "You'll be coming here now, Michael." Like he says it like that. Like he knows.
Well, he goes full crazy.
I think he thinks he's in Halloween as presented as if it was done as Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like he is playing it like he's in that movie. You know what I'm saying? Like it's over the top.
It's astounding.
Yes.
Knives are fleeting.
Yes. He sort of talks in that sing-songy way. It's so funny.
Madness
Yeah.
takes its toll.
Michael takes your soul. Yeah, it's crazy.
You've come back to us, Michael. You need the little girl to stop the rage. And you're just like, what is this?
I honestly, every time he said something like that, I was like, what's the next sentence? Like, how? Like, what is the rest? How does she do any of that? She's a 9-year-old girl.
Yeah, there's no explanation. And we don't get one because he basically like chokes Loomis out and throws him through a floor.
Yeah.
And or a window, unclear. No good establishing shots. The cop like shoots at Michael and he's like, oh my God, he's trying his best to protect this little girl, but Michael gets him and hangs him outside the house. Meanwhile, the little girl finds the laundry chute.
Yes. Oh my God, the laundry chute scene. Oh my God.
Goes down the laundry chute. Michael goes down to the bottom and he's trying to pull her out the bottom. She climbs back up the chute.
When she goes down the laundry chute, it's locked.
Yeah.
Like there's a thing on it, so she can't get out of it. So he walks all the way down to the basement and like opens it up, and it's as she's climbing up, like it sounds dumb. Like yes, she goes into a laundry chute, falls to the bottom. He goes to the bottom, and then she climbs back out of it. Like that sounds very simple. It actually is really tense though.
Well, yeah, especially because you're like, how's she gonna get back up? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he does stab her in the leg in this scene. So like it may not sound like it's a very tense moment, but I think this may have been the most tense moment in the movie for me. Because he is like jamming that knife up in there. Like,
at one point, he's just stabbing up into the chute blindly.
Yes.
But she makes it onto the first floor and then has nowhere to get out. So she runs upstairs.
Yeah.
Because apparently, because Loomis locked them in. That's why.
yeah. Because Loomis is insane.
Yeah.
Why would Loomis lock them in? Whatever. It's insane.
Michael, you've come back to us, Michael. I've locked the doors and we're not ready to leave until you're ready to get rid of the rage.
I also want to point out that I think it was established before this. Loomis has a gun.
Yeah.
It is not the same gun as the first movie.
Correct.
Where he famously shot Michael Paige. Do you know how many times?
6 times.
Yes.
6
He
times.
shot Michael 6 times. The gun he's using in this movie, I looked it up, Paige, because I was like legit interested.
Mm-hmm.
The gun he uses in this movie is an M1911A1. It's an automatic pistol that typically holds, guess how many rounds?
50.
7 bullets. I loved that they picked a weapon that had one more bullet. They were like, you know what? We know it's going to take more than 6. Let's try 7 this
Right.
time. Because my mind, 50 is where I would go.
Right.
I need a lot of firepower.
Right. I'm going to do 50 with multiple mags to just kind of.
Dr. Loomis shot him 6 times, watched him survive, and thought, I bet one more would have done the trick.
Just one more right between the eyes.
It was so funny to me. I loved it.
Yeah.
Because when I saw the gun was not like a revolver. It was like an automatic pistol. I was like, oh, because you can have like 15 in a clip or whatever.
Right.
And when I looked it up, and he doesn't have like an extended clip on it, which would extend the mag size, right?
Right.
For a standard clip, it's only 7 bullets. I laughed out loud when I read it. It was so funny to me.
That's nuts.
It's also a very funny nod. Like if I was directing this movie and I knew I was going to have Dr. Loomis with a gun, I'd be like, get me a gun that has 7 bullets. It's got 1 more.
7 bullets.
It's so funny. I loved it.
That is great. But so she runs upstairs and runs all the way up to the attic where Michael has lit a pure 1 amount of candles.
Yes.
When? Who's to say?
He has an infinite amount of times to set up the bad place, Paige. It's part of the formula.
I mean, I love picturing him mask on, just slowly and carefully lighting and placing every candle.
Paige,
It's such a great visual.
you know for a fact when I shoot my version of these movies, it's going to be him mask off, but only shot from behind.
Oh, yeah.
So and then you see him put the mask on, and then that's the end of the opening credits. What? He's already set up the bad place?
Yes. And as he walks past a mirror, he like pauses and comes back to it and gives himself finger guns before he then goes kills people.
You can tell by the way I stabbed that man, I'm Mike Myers, and I'll kill your fam.
And instead of the slow walk, he's like strutting down the sidewalk, like just popping out from behind hedges and
And
shit.
every time he steps on a sidewalk, it lights up.
Yeah. Billie Jean is not my murder. Yeah. So she gets up there and it's the dead dog. It's the dead Rachel. It's the dead car, Michael.
Yeah, it's all the dead.
It's all the dead.
Yeah, it's all the dead people. Yeah.
It's the house from Midsummer.
It's the bad place. I mean, this is like a famous trope in slashers at least, but a lot of horror movies had this kind of thing.
Yeah, same like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that probably is one of the ones that started it.
Yeah.
But a lot of movies have continued that. Yeah.
But she climbs into the coffin because I think she's just like, well, we had a good run.
When she climbed in the coffin, I was like, don't make it easier on him. Come on.
Well, but then my favorite is he comes up, and this is one of the first times we see the mask in like full light.
Yes, it is.
And it looks like Mark Zuckerberg.
But Paige, specifically Mark Zuckerberg on the windsurfing.
Yes, with too much sunscreen on where he's windsurfing. It looks exactly like him.
By the way, that was me on our honeymoon, more or less, in Mexico. I was wearing so much sunscreen because I'm so afraid to get sunburned.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I went through bottles of spray lotion.
Oh, yeah.
Like spray suntan screen, or not suntan screen, but like spray sunblock.
Neither Jake nor I got sunburned in Hawaii. We were very good about it.
Paige, I look exactly the same level of tan as before I left, and that was largely because it rained every day after the day we got married. And like, Paige, we thought, and we were so worried.
It's like rain.
Oh, yeah.
On your
Paige,
wedding
yes,
day.
we thought for so long, like, because for 2 weeks before, when we could start to see the weather for that area, you know, we were like, oh shit, it's like 100% chance of rain. And as we would get closer, it stayed like above 80% chance of rain. And then when we got there, they were like, it always says that it rains maybe 30 minutes a day, we'll be fine. And we were like, cool. So at that point, we thought we'd be fine. We've also had like a lot of like very special moments that happened in the rain, or the rain had just stopped, stuff like that. So we had talked, we were like, I would get married in the rain. We had bought like clear umbrellas in case they still would let us get married outside, even if it wasn't, you know, not like crazy rain or whatever, but like raining a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, the weather was beautiful. It held out, and the tropical storm that we thought was going to hit land, that was going to like make it rain the whole rest of our trip, didn't start until later that night. We got so lucky.
Nice.
So like, in fact, if you look at the wedding photos that we got chronologically, you can see the storm sort of rolling in the background.
Just creeping.
Which I hope doesn't end up as a metaphor, but like whatever. I thought it was like so very kind of Mother Nature to like allow that. Thank you for the good weather. And honestly, thank you for the rain too, because I don't love sitting at pools all day, not doing much, although I brought my Steam Deck, so I'd have been fine. But yeah, so like we went to the spa one day and like got 80-minute massages and like just really relaxed and had a great time. We honestly pulled off, I think, a Danny Ocean's level heist at the adults only resort we were at in Mexico.
Nice.
Yeah, we got 2 dinners one night.
Ooh.
Idiots. Yeah. Double dinner gang strikes again.
Hell yeah. Did I tell you about how Jake and I's massages went? Because we were texting back and forth about a thing.
We were, yeah.
And now, question: when you and Natalie went to the spa, did you guys get your massages in the same room?
No, they didn't have accommodations for that. They only had like one couple's room, I think, and it was booked. So we just did separate rooms.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. If you're out there considering a couple's massage, no, don't get them in the same room. It's not relaxing for anybody. Get your own massages. And so Jake and I, they were like, we could put you guys in the same room. And we were like, no, pass. And they were like, do you have any like question? Like, do you mind, male, female masseuse? And I was like, I have no preference, but sometimes ladies with tiny hands lobster claw my back fat. And I don't like that. So whoever has the biggest hands is who I'll take. And they're like, okay, you're going to be with Scottish, who was like he was not a Scottish person, but that was his name. But he was like a 50-year-old, like just nice guy from the Midwest. And then they were like, and Jake, you're going to have, and I don't remember her name.
Anastasia.
Oh, no, not Anastasia, it's you. No, yeah, but some like very fit looking younger lady who, whatever. Don't care. I had
Paige, she's clearly not his type.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried.
Yeah.
I was having the best massage of my life. I wasn't thinking about it at all.
From Scots or from Scots?
Scottish.
Yeah, who's not Scottish?
Scottish was silent and great with my neck. And not in a sexual way, but in a, I have been sleeping and grinding my teeth too much. And
Yeah.
he worked wonders.
Stress gonna give it to you. Yeah.
5 fucking stars. If you're at the Marriott in Kanapali, go get a massage from Scottish.
Yeah.
This other lady, because I met up with Jake after, because I like went to the sauna and steam room, and I was like, how was your massage? Because mine had been great. And he was like, so I made the mistake of answering one of her questions early on in the massage. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, so she just immediately started in with like, yeah, all this, stuff with the fire, but like what they don't tell you is the underground tunnels. And he was like, what? Underground tunnels? Because he's like me and can't resist a mystery.
I wouldn't be able to resist that either. I've got to know where they lead.
And he was like, underground tunnels. And she was like, yeah, where they keep the kids to harvest the adrenochrome. The rich know all about it.
Okay, I'm out. I'm out.
For a solid hour, just like QAnon anti-vax nonsense. And the whole time she was like massaging him, and I was like, well, how was the massage? She was like, honestly, great. But the whole time I was just like, when is she gonna get to Pizzagate? Like, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is really bad. So maybe not that person, but yeah, that was our massage experience. Was I came back, I was like, I'm the most rested I've been in months. And he's just
Paige,
like,
same.
I'm worried about the deep state.
Yeah. I mean, we all should be. I think that honestly, like, the wedding was beautiful. It was magical. I'm so glad to have met and married Natalie, obviously. But the relaxing part of the vacation was also so needed and so great. I loved it. So yeah, I absolutely did. I think that I didn't have that issue with my massage therapist. She just sort of like,
Thank goodness.
she just sort of like crushed it and didn't talk my ear off. But I do think that I would have been the person in that interaction that was annoying the other person with the weird things that I know. Like, it wouldn't have been QAnon wacky shit, but it would have been like other weird, stupid stuff from history. So like, I think she was probably very grateful to have had, or at least been faking having a language barrier between her and me. And in all fairness, I was in Mexico. It was me who didn't speak the language. So like, I ain't mad at it, but she was not trying to speak English, and I respected that and just did what she told me. And honestly, it was great.
Yes.
Get a massage, guys. It's great. It feels great.
Get a massage and wear as much sunscreen as it takes to look like Mark Zuckerberg on a windsurfing thing, a wind sail.
So silly.
Because that's what Michael Myers looked like in this movie. And then he's about to stab her, and she's just like, no, Uncle Boogeyman.
I was like, what?
Amy tired.
I know.
Amy not want murder. Can I see? And he takes the mask off, and we don't see. It's in shadow,
Yeah.
but she sees. And she just says, you're just like me, and like dries a tear. And I was like, the fuck is this about?
I know, what is happening right now?
Michael Myers is immediately like, emotions, and like goes and trashes the room.
Okay, so as someone who has like struggled to process my emotions in the past, I actually sort of got this. Like, it made sense to me. I was like, I'm not there now. Therapy's been very helpful, but like, I understand this emotional outburst from Michael.
I'm in a candle case of emotion.
I am at a Pier 1 Imports level of candles, level of emotion. Yes.
Yes. Who should show up but Dr. Loomis, who's like, you want her? Here she is. Come and get her. Let's play a game.
You made it sound cool, like Liv Tyler makes it sound cool in Lord of the Rings when she's like, do you want him? Come and claim him in the first one.
Come and claim him. Yes.
It's not like that. It's almost like he is going to give Jamie to Mike Myers.
Yes.
Like, I didn't know until the iron, I guess, net fell on Mike Myers whose side Loomis was on, really.
And honestly,
he does end
are
up,
we sure?
I guess, being on the right side of history in this movie, at least. Because Paige, I heard what you just said, and I'm not sure. Based upon what you've told me about 6, I have questions.
Right. Anyway, they trank him and drop a net on him. And you're like, oh. But they take him to the prison, and then they take her, or they're about to take her back to the clinic.
Yes.
She's in the car. The cop's going to drive her. But there's an explosion inside because the man in black be shooting.
The man in black with the occult symbol on his wrist, who was dressed like Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption, that just shot up the sheriff's office. Yes, that guy.
But Michael also has the tattoo.
They both do, yes. Sorry.
They both do.
Yeah.
That will not be explained until the next movie, even though no one was communicating between the two. Anyway, she goes into the police station. Everybody dead. All the bodies hit the floor. And they have broken Michael out. And she's like, he's out. No! And that's the movie.
Now, having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what do you think about Halloween 5, The Revenge of Mike Myers? Not the curse, Paige. The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Not the curse. The revenge. It's not good. It's not the worst. And honestly, seeing it contrasted with 6, because everyone says 6 is worse. 6 at least does some weird shit. At least it's breaking it up a little bit with some different stuff. It's still not good, and it's nigh unwatchable. But like, seeing this is when people get so mad about the more recent ones. I'm like, look, I didn't love the most recent ones either, but they're better than this. Like, way better. This is a dark time in the Halloween franchise, I would say.
It does feel sort of cash grabby to me. I do feel like these movies exist.
I liked the last one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think that that's fair. I do feel like these movies exist to like allow someone like me who doesn't like being scared in movies or in general. Like Natalie has been like threatening to like prank me. She's been like, what if I just like jump out and scare you? I was like, please don't do that. Because like
I think you'll shit yourself.
I do like a scream. I don't handle it well. Anyway, but I think these are for me because they're not scary really. There are some tense moments, but it's not jump scary. And they're largely just silly formulaic movies. And I sort of like them for that.
Yeah. Because
they are often wild rides, much like this one was. So I kind of liked watching it, although I didn't find it that scary.
Yeah, I mean, we have watched far worse things.
Yeah. I also think this franchise benefits because we only watch it in like Halloween season.
Yeah.
And this does feel like the perfect time of year to watch this type of movie. It just feels like, oh, Halloween is this week, right?
Yeah.
Like this is the time to watch this movie. So it just felt like I enjoyed watching it, honestly. When you had watched the wrong one and I realized that I was going to get to watch this movie again today because we were going to record it again, I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Because the movie is just sort of fun and silly and I liked it. Although it is largely just a movie of Dr. Loomis abusing a child or just yelling at a child, and then that child possibly holding out on where Michael's location is. Like, I'm not sure we ever got to the bottom of that, but I'll reach out to Danielle Harris and see if she can answer that question and see what she says.
Let's find out. I will say I definitely preferred the last one to this one because I felt like that was kind of new, where it was like she was a young girl, she does really well, and it's kind of introducing this whole Michael is hunting his family kind of thing. Great. I dig 4. This one felt like they didn't have enough story to fill a full movie, and then the next one feels like they have 4 movies worth of story and don't know how to explain it to you. So it's like they're bad for different reasons. And then, yeah, after that, we get into a different timeline. So that'll be kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, because that's the H2O timeline, right?
Right, where Jamie Lee Curtis comes back.
Yeah, with our Lord and Savior, the Josh Hartnett.
Hartnett.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I can't wait for those. But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
stabby
Not 6 fun facts.
Not 6 fun facts. So Donald Pleasance was very vocal about how much he didn't like the story and the way that he was asked to play Dr. Loomis in this movie as basically heavy and overbearing. He was like, that's not really who Loomis is. It's a weird escalation.
It is.
Yeah. He also felt like Halloween 4 and the shock ending of 4 was not being capitalized on. If you remember from 4 also has this element of like the cycle of trauma perpetuates, which is something they pick up in the later Halloweens that I think they do really well. And 4 really teed them up for that in this movie. Now, originally, there was an alternate script for this movie. I'll talk about it in just a second.
Okay.
But Donald Pleasance really wanted that alternate script, and he was not happy with ultimately what this movie ended up being.
Is this why Donald... Is it Pleasance? Is that how you say it?
Pleasance. I've always heard it Pleasance.
I mean, I don't know that I'm saying it right, but I was saying Pleasance earlier, so who knows? I mean, I'm sure it's me who's saying it wrong, but is that why he was like handing out Post-it notes with like directions to people on it all movie and like was like so mad?
Yeah, he would only answer to Loomis.
Yeah. Told Ryan Reynolds he hated him or whatever on set. Oh, wait, no, that was Blade. My bad. That was last week.
That was Blade. It does kind of impact the next movie because there's a few years between this one and the next one.
Right.
And by the next movie, he had just had really intensive heart surgery and he was unwell for most of the movie.
I wonder if that's why they were like, no, I can't do it. So they were like, we'll diminish your role or something like that.
Yeah. Well, he filmed a bunch of it and they cut a bunch of it out because the director of 6 thought it was boring. And we'll get to that when we do 6. But like, because they cut so much out, the story doesn't make sense. Like the movie doesn't flow.
Fair enough.
But anyway, in this one, he was still walking around. He was only on set though for 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay. They shot him out quick.
Yeah. But after that 2 weeks, he gave his trailer to Danielle Harris once he left the set. Danielle's mother had been complaining about the small size of her daughter's trailer, and Donald Pleasance thought that she should have his, so they switched once he was done shooting.
That's super kind. I mean, it sounds like he wasn't using it anymore, so like, great.
Yeah. Now, despite this movie being called Halloween 5 Revenge of Michael Myers, Revenge of Michael Myers did not appear on any movie covers or posters or in the actual film. Or actually, I'm sorry, it's on the movie covers and posters, but it's not in the actual movie.
It's not.
The credits only say Halloween 5.
Yeah.
Now, where Michael Myers is driving the car with Tina, he was supposed to originally have a Ronald Reagan mask, but they rejected that in order to keep the film devoid of any political subtext. If you'll remember, this was made in 1989, so this is right around the time the Berlin Wall fell.
Yeah.
So people didn't quite hate Reagan with the same fervor we do today. So Don Shanks, who played Michael in this movie, was originally set to wear the same mask that George P. Wilbur had worn in number 4 to retain consistency between the movies, but it didn't fit him, so a new one was made, including the eyebrows. Now, regarding that scene where Donald Pleasance yells into the woods, he requested that Don Shanks stand in the woods because he didn't want to shout at nothing.
Yeah.
So Michael is in the trees.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like he's an old man shouting at the woods.
Yep.
I wish they had shown that Michael was in the woods. Like, give us a reverse over-the-shoulder shot from Loomis's perspective showing that Michael is there. Because without that, it just looks like an old man yelling. It's crazy.
I'll call it the Predator special.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Now, as part of the opening, there was an alternate scene where the man who finds Michael Myers' body removes the mask. And we do see the mask is off.
Yeah.
But there was originally a reaction shot where he looked at his face and kind of reacted weird, but we never saw the actual face. Now, oddly enough, the house that Michael returns to recreate the hairbrushing scene is not the same house as the Myers house in the first Halloween movie. Similarly, it's not the same house they used to be that house in the next movie either. So they just picked one. Now, Donald Pleasance had disagreements with Mustafa Akkad, who's the main producer on this, the one before, and the one after.
Yeah.
And Othene Gerard, who's the name of the director, citing that Jamie should have been portrayed as all evil after stabbing her stepmother. They disagreed, thinking that fans wanted to see more Michael. Because again, that's the main problem with this franchise is their marriage to Michael.
I mean, that's every slasher franchise. I mean, that's Jason, that's Freddy, all of them. Yeah.
Danielle Harris has been told about the alternate ideas that were pitched at the time. I mean, obviously, as a child, she was not necessarily privy to this then,
Sure.
but she is now. But she says, the way Halloween 4 ended, I thought I was going to be the killer and that I would have come back as the killer or Michael's sidekick. Now, there was an alternate story where the film's first screenplay was written by Shem Bitterman, and it featured Jamie and Michael Myers as dual antagonists. Where Jamie was now a teenager and going on a killing spree of her own.
Nice.
With Michael Myers attempting to kill her because she was unwittingly interfering with his own spree, with Rachel as the final girl being caught in the middle, which is essentially similar-ish to what we get in the more recent Halloween, but not quite executed correctly.
Or executed the same. I mean, yeah.
The same, yeah. Executive producer Mustafa Akkad disliked it and felt like a parody of Halloween than an actual entry. I think that would have been really interesting.
I think it would have been interesting, but it was also like mid-90s when that movie was made, and I think that is like a little bit different kind of commentary.
Sure.
I just don't think we would have gotten that kind of commentary in the mid-90s, but yeah.
No, well, and especially because he had already promised Danielle Harris that she would return as Jamie, and she would have only been 12 at the time.
Yeah.
And they didn't think she'd be credible as a serial killer. So it was rewritten from scratch by Michael Jacobs and the director Dominique Othenin-Girard, even though Bitterman retained some of the credits for contractual reasons, but most of that story hits the cutting room floor. In order to justify how Michael survived the last movie, they had to repipe and add new footage and reshoot footage that makes it look like it was from Halloween 4, because some of that didn't happen in Halloween 4. They had to make it look like it.
I mean, it fooled me.
Now, Dominique Othenin-Girard, this was basically their first film, and there are a lot of indications that that's the case, but one of the most dangerous ones is that Don Shanks, who played Michael, did all of his own stunts in the film, including swimming in 30-degree water, but also crashing his car into a tree at 30 miles an hour in that one scene. And the director was so distracted by watching the stunt happen for the first time that they forgot to yell cut.
Okay.
Yes. And the fire grew and Don Shanks almost did not escape that fire.
Really?
He almost died. He was injured and did suffer some burns. And he basically decided to stay in the vehicle until they yelled cut, because that's how stunts usually work.
Yeah.
But it had been about a minute and he was like, I can't stay in here. I'm going to burn. And so he finally, the stunt coordinator, told the director to yell cut just in time for him to get out of the wreckage.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. The laundry chute was filmed with 30 different sections of laundry chute. Some were full props, some were horizontal, and some were vertical, so that they could shoot from all different angles. But it was all shot in one night.
Oh, cool.
Now, this is kind of I feel like this is a House of a Thousand Corpses fun fact. The old hermit from the opening scene was originally scripted as a younger man named Dr. Death, who had a fascination with the occult.
Okay.
His shack was supposed to be filmed with ancient runes and tablets, and he attempts to bring Michael back to life after finding him.
Okay.
Now, this remains, it exists as a deleted scene. They did film it. And in fact, when Michael wakes up, it does look kind of like there's a lot of weird stuff. We just don't dwell on it. And it's in the documentary Inside Halloween 5. This is the closest we can find to something that might have influenced the cult storyline of the next movie. And it is peak satanic panic.
Yeah.
So that's probably why.
Yeah.
But there's also critiques about Jamie's character in general, because she basically has almost an identical storyline to Tommy Jarvis from the Friday the 13th series. Both characters appear in the 4th, 5th, and 6th films. Both are about the same age in their first appearance, although Tommy ages consistently. And they both become institutionalized and develop homicidal tendencies like the killer. In this film, Jamie starts out unable to speak. In the 5th Friday the 13th, Tommy also seems to speak very, very rarely. And at the end of that film, even though it was someone pretended to be Jason, Tommy then essentially becomes Jason at the end of that movie, and then they completely retcon it for 6. So that's kind of a weird things. I'll end on this one because I talked about the mask a little bit. And again, there's tons more fun facts about this if you want to noodle around online. There's a million of them. Michael's mask in this movie is elongated with longer and slicker hair. The rubber was different and the eye shape was different. The mask was also held together by Velcro, which means it didn't stay on well. And so it would appear unkempt and shoddy and not fit his face really. So it made the expression look kind of angrier.
Yeah, it sort of floats a little bit.
Yeah, much like the last film's mask, because the last film's mask is different from the first two movies. It received a negative reaction, specifically around the eyebrows and the eye shapes.
Yeah.
And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. What do you think the production budget was for Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers?
To be honest with you, I think Miramax takes over at this point, but Miramax was still a very young company at the time. And so I think this is probably only a few million, maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah, Paige, it's $6 million. You're not far off.
Yeah.
Which, if you adjust for inflation, is like 15.2 today, but it's not a huge budget. Now, Paige, this movie came out the weekend of October 13th, probably Friday the 13th, right?
Right.
1989, and it was number 2 that weekend. It actually premiered the same week Look Who's Talking premiered. And Look Who's Talking was number 1. Halloween 5 was number 2. Number 3 was Sea of Love. Number 4 was An Innocent Man. And number 5 was Black Rain. But what do you think Halloween 5 made in its opening weekend, Paige?
I do know that this is the lowest grossing one, but opening weekend, I think even lowest grossing at $5 million, it probably makes back most of its budget.
Well, it made $6 million. The production budget was $6 million, not $5 million.
Sorry, yes, $6 million. But I think maybe this makes $3 million opening weekend.
I was trying to guide you into saying $5 million because it was $5 million. Paige.
Oh, damn it.
That's why I was trying to clarify. It was a little bit more, but you're right. It was close to making it budget back because your reasoning was like right on.
Yeah.
Anyway, it did just make just over $5 million. It was in theaters for 5 weeks total. So from October 13th to November 10th, or that weekend. But what do you think it made in its domestic run? And it did not get an international release that I could find. So this would be worldwide too, technically.
Worldwide, I bet this made $26 million.
Oh, Paige, they wish it was $11.6 million.
Oh, no.
So again, on a $6 million budget, it did make money, not a lot of money. I mean, if you adjust that 11.6 that it made in 1989 to 2024 dollars, that is $29.6 million today. So it's not a ton of money, but it did make some money. As you said, it is the lowest in the franchise. But that is your box office. Paige, do you want to hit us with that scary scale?
Our scary scale is a scale of 1 to 10 on how scary we found the film today when we watched it, with 1 being Ghostbusters and 10 being Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Todd.
1, my lady. It's not scary at all, really.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think for me, it's a 1 also, just in general.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. And that's your scary scale.
Yeah, so this week, Paige, you made us watch, well, actually, the holiday made us watch Halloween 5, and for you, Paige, Halloween 6. But what are you making us watch next week as we start, good God, November's theme? It's already November, guys. November's theme, and what movie are we kicking it off with?
So our next month is going to be, it's my birthday month, so I'm choosing movies that I wanted to see and didn't have time to see because it's been a very busy summer slash fall slash all the time. And so a lot of these are movies that either I've wanted to do and I've held on to them, or they came out and I didn't get a chance to see them because it was we had a lot of horror come out this past summer or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm picking 3, and then for listener requests, you guys get to pick one that I didn't pick that you think I would enjoy.
Yeah, what has Paige not been able to watch that you know Paige is dying to watch?
That I would fucking love.
Like Lisa Frankenstein or that kind of stuff, right?
I definitely did watch that, and I did love it, and I will force you to watch it at some point. But first, we're going to watch Alien Romulus.
That's actually just came out, right?
It just came out. It just went to streaming.
Okay.
It is expensive on streaming. I'm hoping that by the time we actually record this, it will be less. Or by the time you're listening to this,
it will be
which
lesser.
is even later than that, it will be lesser.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Or that you got to see it in theaters, because I did hear that it was theater worthy. But it'll be Alien Romulus.
Well, I'm looking forward to checking out more from the Alien franchise, because we've only done Alien and Aliens, right?
We've only done Alien and Aliens. We have not done Alien 3. Technically, you could force me to watch that this month. If you want to, I will hold it against you. And then we have not really entered into 4, which is the one where Ripley plays basketball. And then we have not gotten into the prequels after that. But Romulus.
Yeah, but for next week, Romulus, check it out, because that's your homework. And we may have a special guest or two.
Maybe. Hey, Todd, do you have any reviews for us?
Oh, you know what, Paige? I do. And this week, I'm going to start out with a Spotify comment from our most recent episode, which was the Blade Trinity episode.
Blade.
And I did get a lot of comments that were in the vein of, no, Todd, Dominic Toretto drives a 70s Dodge Charger. Apparently, I was a little bit wrong on the car that Blade was driving. Apologies. But they're similar at least. You got to give me that. I'm going to read this one, though, that came in from Mark. And it's very short, and I loved it. It says, "Shirtless Dracula, say less."
Yeah.
And that's the kind of energy I really like in our comments under the episode. So thank you so much for that. I am going to read this 5-star comment, and this comes in from Tiger Rosa. And they say, thanks to this podcast, I was able to have a 10-minute conversation with my cousin today about the lore of the Child's Play franchise.
Love
When
it.
she asked if I had seen the TV series, I had to explain I had never watched any of the movies. I tried to explain about the podcast, but I think I'm keeping the reputation of being the odd cousin.
I mean, I will say the TV show is good. If you are a Chucky fan, watch the TV show.
Yeah, we did talk about it when we last did a Child's Play episode. So Tiger Rosa, sorry about not being able to elevate you out of the status of odd cousin, but thank you so much for listening and giving a 5-star review on Apple. We appreciate it.
Here's what you got to do. You got to hit them with like, no, but do you know about the Phantasm movies, and introduce them to that, and then you're the cool cousin.
How do you feel about tiny brain spheres that float?
How do you feel about a tall man who is just madly in love with an ice cream man?
If those two crazy kids could figure it out, it'd be great. But Mark and Tiger Rosa, thank you so much for your Spotify comment and 5-star review. And if you want me to read your Spotify comment or 5-star review, leave one of those things and I'll do just that. So guys, if you like this show but want to hear Paige and I talk about romantic comedies or just regular romantic movies, check out our other podcast. Some might call it a sister podcast called Romancing the Pod, where we do just that weekly. It's a lot like this show, but for romance and romantic comedies, because Paige doesn't like them. So we make her watch them, just like you guys make me watch horror over here. But if you want to follow me, I am at Todd J. Awesome on all the social media. Paige is at Rampage Wesley on Instagram?
Yes, and TikTok.
And just Paige Wesley on Twitter, because you got that before some CEO lady and she wanted it, but you wouldn't give it back. And I respect you for that.
Refuse.
Also, Paige
Suck it, other Paige Wesley.
Paige is also on another podcast. It's great. You should check it out. It's called Cult Podcast with Armando Torres, who is a wonderful person. And if you want to support this show, go to Patreon at patreon.com/horrorvirgin, where there are a lot of great levels and a lot of great things. We do the Patreon shout outs at the beginning of every episode. We do listener requests, stuff like that, bonus episodes. So you'll be getting all of that content, plus episodes a day early with no ads, and who doesn't love that? So sign up for the Patreon and get a lot of great stuff.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Keep it oogie spooky.
Yeah, have an amazing week, guys. Bye! I got married last week, nerds!
I got a massage last week, nerds.